All right, Roundabout Cast, episode 95, coming live.
Let's hear it.
Let's hear it.
Willer's so excited.
Did we just not start, or did we start like 2 minutes ago?
No, we did not catch the part where I was like, "Oh, you guys, I'm so excited to hang out with y'all and talk with y'all," and then all three of them go, "You work from home. You're not allowed to be sad or burnt out or excited to work out or to hang out with us." I was like, "Oh, okay."
I thought we were live, so I was trying to be part of the bit.
Oh yeah, it was a bit. You guys being mean to me was a bit. Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Good bit. You know what else is a bit? One of you talk about your pit stops. I don't even care anymore.
All right.
Got some cool stuff on here.
Okay.
You know what? I usually go last. Let me go first.
Yeah,
I'll
what
knock
do you
some
got?
out of the
What
way.
do you got?
I went and saw a movie called Hell of a Summer.
Uh-huh.
This is Finn Wolfhard and his buddy's directorial debut.
Oh.
It was not bad. It wasn't amazing, but it was not bad, which I feel like is good, you know?
Yeah,
not
for a
everybody
debut.
not everybody makes a banger out the gate. They wrote and they did the screenplay for it and directed it.
So it's Finn Wolfhard and his friends, and they all wrote and directed it together, basically.
I think it's him and just one of his buddies.
Yo, why aren't we doing that? The first Roundabout Cast.
Direct a fucking movie.
Yeah.
I mean, the only nepotism we would have in any sway is Bradley. So.
True. Well, I guess you have some as well. You guys both have some nepotism.
Sure.
Well, it won't be animated, and it won't be a superhero movie, and we're good. There we go.
Damn. So yeah, quick little thing. Been playing a lot of One Piece. Been being real bad.
It is a good meta. We were chatting earlier today. A lot of good decks out there right now.
Very chaotic energy. I want him to release some leaks about the new starter decks more.
Yeah, those should be
I'm
exciting.
itching for that. And then I went on vacation. It was a great time. Went skiing.
And how was that?
One of the days it said I burned 6,000 calories, which I don't believe.
No way.
Yeah, I was about to say you're gonna be a skeleton.
Bullshit.
It was between 27 to 3,000.
I could see 27. Skiing can be tiring, especially if you're falling a lot like me, but you're mostly coasting, especially if you're good.
Mm-hmm. We did 24 runs that day, and we started at 8:30 and went to 4 p.m.
Okay, I mean 24 runs might get you to that 2,700, but 6,000.
You're also on blues, right?
Absolutely not. Yeah, they're all blues and blacks.
Yeah. So you're breaking a lot more on those. So you're essentially squatting downhill, effectively.
Yeah, it was a good time. My family's best friend has this super nice cabin that we got to stay at. It was a cool thing. So I found out about Epic Pass. So Epic Pass is what you get to go on the mountain. I found out that they have a auto enroll program. So you can accidentally auto renew your casual $600 to $800 pass for the next year.
Ooh.
So Willer, you should go check that. See if you didn't auto enroll to ski next season.
Okay, yeah, I did it. I don't even remember what I did it from.
Yeah, well, we've been buying these for a decade now, and we've never seen this before. So now I accidentally have one for next season. So
well, sounds like to me we're going skiing next season.
Yeah, ooh, darn.
Oh no.
You gotta figure that out.
Yeah, you hate skiing.
Mia.
Well, no.
Yeah. So there's that, and then on my vacation, I started playing Pokemon Violet again.
Yeah.
I have all the badges, all the Titans beat. I've got one more star team to fight. I completely forgot what that plot was about.
Yeah.
Do you know the kids that didn't shoot up the school?
Do you know the plot twist they're building up to? The very hard to guess plot twist of that storyline?
I actually have no idea because I completely forgot what's going on.
No, yeah, with 3 years in between, it may not.
Twist. This will be the plot twist of plot twists.
Sweet. Looking forward to that.
There's two things of beef I have about this game. One, is I don't use picnicking at all. Like, this is just a completely irrelevant.
It's actually super important.
For what?
So you can use picnicking to, like, a lot of the times it's done for shiny hunting, but also you can do it to catch certain types of Pokemon with certain natures. Like, it's for when you, like, really play the game in the post game. That's when you start picnicking. But
because I don't use it for shit right now.
No, yeah, in the main journey, I forgot it existed until you brought it up. But I did use it a lot in the post game.
So I've got that. Let's see. This game, you know what? Coming back a few years later, I see what they were working for. I see what they were working towards. You know,
they were almost there. They
were almost there.
They almost met the vision that they clearly had. You know,
like. All the Pokemon roaming around the world, super cool. All of the, like, different environments that they're in, awesome. Big open world, cool. But God, does this game just run like shit? Like,
we've been saying it since 2022 or whatever. Yeah,
I can't get over it.
Now, it does run well on the Switch 2, which could transition us into a little Switch 2 chat after you're done here.
Asterisk, none of us own a Switch 2. This is speculation.
We may never own a Switch 2.
Yeah. I've seen footage of it on the Switch 2, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know if I want to pay $1,000 for a Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, I hope the tariffs aren't that serious, but we'll see.
They're at 250% right now. So...
Well, Trump said it's not going to affect electronics after he angered the most busy people on the planet, aka gamers.
You don't fuck with gamers.
So that's still not true because Nintendo Switches fall under the same kind of recreational stuff as like billiards and other things.
I see.
So
never mind. Gamer rage incoming.
So the other thing though is, I guess we'll just full on to this topic. Nintendo does have factories in like Cambodia and Vietnam, and they're like at 10 or 20% or something like that. So it is likely that they will just say like, we're going to ship the ones from those factories to America because it will be tariff less, and then everything else will get the China goods. The question being is like, we don't know if those factories are going to have the ability to like actually sustain the amount of demand within America. And we don't know if the parts there are going to be as good or as well put together as the ones being made in China, which have been used for, I don't know, decades. So, yeah.
The cool thing about that is somehow we are living through another pandemic-like economy without a pandemic.
Well, at least, it's not death.
People
It's just my money. Yeah.
You mean unfortunately.
Take me back.
I think you mean unfortunately, Willard.
No, I don't, and I don't want your edgy. Yeah. I know you watched Content Cop yesterday, so you're edgy again.
I'm not edgy at all. I have been saying this for years.
That's the real fucking news.
Anyway, this Pokemon is also one of the worst UI Pokemon ever created. I don't know
What about it? Because to me, it was just super normal. Like, that was just how Pokemon UI always is. So, I don't... What made it worse than the other ones?
So, the Pokédex... Let's start there, for example. Pokédex has no, way to remember where you were looking.
Okay.
So, if you want to find out a Pokemon's habitat, for example, if you want to catch them all, like the name of the fucking game...
They haven't used that slogan since 2000, but okay.
Whatever. You got to go into the Pokédex. There's no way to search. There is sorting alphabetically by number or by smallest to largest. That's it.
Type and name? You can sort by name.
Nope, you cannot. I said alphabetically. I said you could sort alphabetically. That is the only way you can sort by name.
I'll be right back.
So, yeah, go grab it. Go grab it. And you'll see. So you can only sort by name, and then, here's the catch. To get into the habitat section of the Pokédex, it probably takes you about 4 clicks to do it. You have to get over to it, find it. It has, some cutscene photo Then you get to the paragraph. Then you click one more time, and then you actually see its habitat and where it's located. Guess what, Joe? It doesn't say anywhere on the map where you fucking are in that screenshot.
Yeah, because it shows you the whole map. It shows you, like, it's in that region.
Yeah, but it's divided into grids. But I don't know if I'm inside that grid or not. Until I exit out of the entire Pokédex and then go back into my map. Which also, you can only access the Pokédex by going through your map. Weird, but okay. But then, like, here's the thing. So you have so many button clicks to get into find out where its habitat is. And they go, that's a problem. There's so many clicks to get into it. You know what we need? We need one button to get out of it. That makes sense, right? Because we're already 4 buttons deep. Let's make one button be able to escape the Pokédex. So if you are, I don't know, accidentally flipping through your Pokédex, you're in the, like, 200s, and then you're, like, halfway through clicking it, and then you accidentally touch the wrong button. Oh, guess what? You have to start all the way over again, because the Pokédex has no memory of where you were. You also can't skip like you could in almost every other Pokédex, where, like, you would press the left and right arrows, and it would, like, skip, like, 20 or, like 12 or 24 Pokemon, you know? Y'all know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't do that. You have no way to do that. And the same works for the bag as well. So, in this game, going left and right, will change which part of your bag you're in. But once you're in that section of the bag, pressing left and right doesn't skip down through your items anymore. They've taken a way to, like, gain quicker access and flip screens and everything. Just a big pain in the butt, you know? I mean, considering I'm going through my bag a lot, I'm going through the Pokédex a lot, that's like 80% of my game experience, and it's just such a bad time.
The Pokédex was never very good to navigate, but I'll give you that. But this is my favorite Pokédex because of those pictures that you were talking about, because I think it's a lot more cool seeing a little picture of the Pokemon in the environment than a little sprite. So it wins by flavor.
I wish this was on a 3DS, because as I was flipping through the Pokédex, it would show that on, like, the top screen or something, like, or, you know, if it went vertical like every other fucking Pokédex in existence, and instead of showing, like, the, like, Pokemon's, like, little icon, it could show that on the left side, like, the Pokemon actually in the environment. Like, I'm in my professional opinion, it's absolute ass. Like, I would be embarrassed about this. Like, coming from a place where bad UI flows like, you know, wine through Italy, it's a miserable experience.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all from me. That's my Pokemon rant. I'm done.
Fun. Everyone loved that.
Yeah.
I mentioned earlier, but what do y'all think of the Switch 2 and all the stuff they've announced, especially Bradley, since you're...
I'm glad they finally just fucking showed it at all, man. Like, I don't know, a few months ago is when they announced it, and it was funny because in the week or two up until they announced it, I specifically remember being like, just fucking announce it, like, everyone knows it's fucking coming. So, I don't know, I'm glad, like, we finally got a proper presentation. They announced some games, which, by the way, those 2 launch titles, I think, look pretty fucking hot. I'm gonna be Mario Kart. I'm playing as Donkey Kong.
That Mario Kart looks so good.
It looks so good.
I watched the follow-up direct. That it was actually just this morning that they posted it. That shit looks clean. Like,
oh my god, I love the costumes for everyone too.
I like the wall tricks and, like, the grinds you can do. Like, you can just drive on the wall for, like, extended periods of time. So I feel like optimizing those courses is actually going to be really cool.
Oh yeah, no, we're gonna see some cool. We're gonna see cool stuff out of, like, speedrunners and record setters.
I mean, just, like, casually, I feel like you could, like, learn to do a couple tricks on the walls and feel good. Like, it's just gonna feel good to do. I booted up some Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, I think yesterday, and just played for a while. I was like, man, this game's so good. Like, because it has so many tracks and like horses and stuff, that game is excellent. So like, I'm pretty excited for that new Mario. Like that kind of pushed me over the edge of like, oh, I don't need a Switch to like, yeah, I kind of want to play that though.
They knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
And see, that's the thing is, I've expressed the idea before that, you know, after Mario Kart 8, with all the just years and years and years of support it's got, like, Mario Kart 8 has been through, oh my god. It started on the Wii U, and I think it went all the way through the Switch cycle.
Yeah.
And now we're here. So it's gotten all these years of support and DLCs, and I was always like, whenever they release Mario Kart 9, whatever it is, at launch, I feel like it'll just be worse than 8, because 8 has so much fucking content, which is why I feel like it's good they went a different direction.
It's kind of a side grade.
You can avoid that direct comparison, like, oh, it's a Mario Kart with less stuff, and it's like, no, it's a Mario Kart with a new twist instead.
Yeah, like, it's obviously going to have less content, but, like, the feel of driving is going to feel really good. Kind of like a Monster Hunter Wilds combat versus, like, the combat of, like, the content of other games. Dude, Mario Kart 8 has 96 tracks.
That's
Jesus.
fucking ridiculous.
It's like... That's just a number that makes me salivate a little bit as someone who owns that game.
Truly, the Monster Hunter generations of Mario Kart.
It's incredible. And then, like, I'm also very excited for the Donkey Kong game coming out.
The Donkey Kong game looks fun. I've seen very little of it, but I saw, like, them punching to the ground. I was like, oh, okay, I'm sold.
I'm sold.
Dude, him, like, punching through the ground, underground, to make a path was so cool.
It's got that energy of a Astrobot Mario Odyssey. In fact, I'm like 1,000% sure this is actually an internal Odyssey team. Like the same, like it's got that kind of vibe to it.
It looked like the way it moved and everything. The camera worked. It reminded me a lot of Odyssey.
Mm-hmm. I think Donkey Kong is like the best looking title for launch right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I want to play the most.
The thing that kind of like also forced my hand was the Dusk Bloods, the new FromSoft game. Now this is not Bloodborne 2. Like it's kind of missing the sauce a little bit. It looks a little mishmashy, but it's a new mainline FromSoft game, so I gotta play it. And if it's anything like Bloodborne and it's stuck to a fucking console forever, I may not have a choice. Like this may not come out on anything else. So. Yeah, guess that's happening if I can get my hands on one, and it has to be the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe version because for some reason that game is what was it, $90?
Yeah, I don't know, man.
That's high. At first I was like, no, that's the normal amount. I was like, wait, no, it's not. It was like 70 is the normal now. That's like it's like 80 or $90.
We're back to Super Nintendo prices, baby.
Jesus Christ, what are they thinking? The other games aren't like, so they're just like, yeah, it's Mario Kart, motherfucker, you have to buy it. I'm like, oh my god, that's evil. That's just evil. Oh man.
Hey man, they know people will buy it. Mario Kart 8 didn't even originally launch on the Switch, and it was the Switch's bestseller from launch till now. So.
And also the new Pokemon game, which I would obviously play. Actually, we're gonna talk about Pokemon quite a bit today. Is I saw it running on the Switch too, and it actually runs good and looks pretty. And I was like, oh my fucking god! It took a while, but we kind of got back there. I'm not sure about the action combat in that game, but I'll check it out. It should be fun. And yeah, that's
I'm more excited for the mobile Pokemon game that's gonna be coming out.
What's that?
The battle game that's like Pokemon.
They said so little about that I think people are misreading what that game is. Like I'm a little skeptical that they're going to make that what people want it to be, which is Pokemon Showdown, but legit.
I mean, I'm hoping.
I'm hoping that would be really cool because I love playing like VGC content and Pokemon and stuff, but like I just don't have the time. Even with like, there you can rent teams, but you definitely like to make your own team in those games. They made it's easier than ever, but it's still not easy. Like it is a time sink, so it is what it is. I can jump onto my pit stops here formerly
Sure.
known as Quickies. So I haven't been up to too much actually. It's been a slow period for me, but I have been playing some games. One of them is first Berserker. It is the DNF Souls-like game, DNF Duel. I heard some really good buzz for this game. It is pretty solid. The thing is, it's like, I like this game, but the areas are very lackluster. And the combat is good, but you only have 3 weapon classes, and you do have a skill tree for each class, so there's more going on with this than a lot of other games. But it's only 3. So for like a Souls game I like, and this is kind of like back to episode 1 of this podcast why I don't really like Sekiro too much. It's like those games' combats aren't so good that I feel like you can have a few weapons. The variety is kind of what makes those games kind of work, where you're like, oh, this is my build and I'm using this thing that other people aren't. It's like when you're down to 3 weapon classes and it's got the Neo style like loot system that I don't like, where you're just getting a bunch of like random gear with like different stat modifiers. I don't know.
Yeah, no, half the fun is getting a new weapon, and like even if it's something that in another game would be the most basic shit, like
like a halberd.
sword.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh my god, I'm 10 hours into this game. I haven't seen a longsword. Let's see what the fucking moves are.
And it'll have like a slightly different move, and then there might be like 7 different longswords, and they like there's pros and cons to each one, and that's just not quite how it works in this game. So like 2 of the strongest aspects, which would be like the maps and exploration and the build variety, are not in the game, but the combat is fun. It looks really pretty, and they have some really cool systems that I like that other Souls games should steal. Particularly one of them is every time you die to a boss, your soul spawn in the room outside the boss. That should always be the standard. I don't know why. Like
that's pretty hot.
Having to run in there and grab it every time is so, to the point where like I spend everything before like Elden Ring bosses, so I can just like die and let myself hit 0 and not have to like think or worry about that for the remaining like 20 attempts. It's got that, and every time you fight the boss, you get a portion of souls relative to how far you got in that attempt. So if you keep slamming your head on these bosses, and that's the thing, the difficulty of this game is fairly hard, just keep slamming your head on it, you will slowly accumulate a level just by like dying. Which I think is really cool, because like you're making a little bit of statistical progress while you're like struggling to beat a boss, and eventually something's gonna give, and you're like either gonna level up or you're gonna beat the boss, and the cycle continues. So I thought that was pretty clever. I've gotten back to trying to finish some games, so I'm playing Trails of Cold Steel 2 right now, which I put away for a while. And in the Death Stranding hype, I've been playing a little bit of Death Stranding here and there. The Director's Cut edition, which I never played. Haven't put too much time into it, but like that game is so fucking fun. If I had more time, I would legit do another playthrough. And then I've been watching some stuff, so I finished Sopranos finally, just as like a quickie. I think last time I talked, I was like on season 5, or I think it was like the beginning of season 5. So I watched 5 and 6. And do y'all know how this show ends? It's like one of the most infamous endings in television.
Yeah.
I don't know nothing.
They got the shawarma ending.
The shawarma ending? Yeah, I don't think they're eating shawarma, but they are at a diner. Yeah, as the season was building up, I'll try to talk around it. I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna agree with the interpretation of the ending that I think I've heard this whole time. Because I like, people can be wrong about endings. Like, people still don't understand the ending of Lost to this day. So like, it's not always very clear. So I was like, I don't know if people were on the money, because a big thing with Sopranos is whenever someone dies or there's a hit or there's an assassination, it can be public, but it's very quick, and usually it's not public. Usually they don't want to get that messy, especially for someone as high profile as Tony, right? So it's like, I don't see how the show's building up to this. But then as you get to the last season, there's like 2 or 3 instances of like, oh no, this war that's going on between these factions is getting violent enough to where like we're getting some high profile like public assassinations now. So it's like, oh okay, maybe the ending does end how people think it ends. All that said, I thought the ending was great. And the last episode's very weird. A lot of it is like business as usual, like life's gonna keep going on, and then like the last couple of scenes are like, oh maybe not. So I like that about it though. Couple of other things about Sopranos. This show is definitely like some writer's fantasy of like, what if I was a fat Italian and every woman in the planet was attracted to me? Like, I know Tony is a charming man, but the amount of like women swooning for him in this show can only be viewed as like a writer self-insert character, like crushing mad puss, and then going through deep depression. So it's like, yeah, I guess whoever that writer is going through a lot. And yeah, like a thing with this show is that there's a lot of underwhelming deaths, which is like it fits, right? Like it's a very realistic show. But I think it's like sometimes too realistic, where like a lot of character arcs in this show did not get satisfying payoffs. They just kind of like petered out. And I'm sure a lot of people would say like that's a strength of the show. Like it feels so like real to life. But it's like if I've spent 6 seasons, with these characters, I would like there to be a little bit more storytelling at play, and like we build up to something and like capitalize on these character plot beats that we've been going to. Because like one of my favorite relationships in the show just kind of ends on like a pretty whatever note, and it's like, oh, this was kind of like the show, and it just kind of peters off near the end of the season. So it's like, I don't know, I think the show is not really good at building up to climaxes, and I feel like the shows that are inspired by it have started doing it a lot better. There's also a lot of plot lines involving like, oh, the FBI is cracking down on the Sopranos family. Every single one of those plot lines goes fucking nowhere. It takes up so much of every season, and it's such a waste of time by the end, which is like kind of disappointing. I will say also, I was told the last few seasons were the worst, but actually season 5 and 6 are like pretty cleanly my favorites of the show. So if you do ever watch the show, I actually think it gets better as it goes on, but I could see why some people would like some of those middle seasons more.
Common Willard take, loves Great Ace Attorney, thinks it's the best.
What? What? Well, I don't know what that has to do with anything, but Grace Attorney is very good, so I don't.
When we discussed Grace Ace Attorney, like, I think based on like the feedback we received there, everyone's like, yeah, it's all right. It's not as good as Ace Attorney 1, and then you and I both played it, and we're like, this is like some of the best it's ever been.
Well, the common consensus now that everyone's played it is that like,
yeah,
it's the best of the franchise. So it's like, I think people woke up to that one. But yeah, that's basically all I have on Sopranos. I will say I don't really love this show. I would give it like a 3.5 out of 5. But it's very good. It's enjoyable the whole way through. But it doesn't really have too many valleys, but it also, the peaks aren't that high for me. And I like from the start I was like, it's kind of limited to how engaged I can be with like, I guess, an American mob story. I guess it's kind of hard for it to break through for me.
But hey, that's another show slain, and a show that for a lot of people it's a must watch. So you know what?
Yeah, I did.
You must watched it.
I did Twin Peaks into this, and I think my next classic show, there's 2 missing like bingo cards for me to watch all like common American good television. Yes. And one would be The Wire, but I just can't fucking do it, dude. Every time I try to start The Wire, I just can't get past the first few. The other would be Mad Men. Similar thing, couldn't get past the first couple of episodes of Mad Men, but I think I'll give it another try soon. But that's gonna be a while. I think I gotta catch up on some anime. Tyler, can I borrow your Crunchyroll again? Just side note before.
Maybe.
Do you want to know what I'm gonna watch first? with if I get your Crunchyroll.
What are you gonna
No
watch?
game, no life.
I'm gonna watch Run with the Wind. That is my next
Oh.
anime watch. So if that incentivizes you to share the love, 'cause I could go find it other ways, but it's kind of a hassle for anime. So I'll just throw that out there if you want someone to talk to about Run with the Wind with. So
He's about to read out his
Yeah.
Crunchyroll password out on live.
right now.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say, Joe?
Hang on. Wait. Oh, I remember now. One of our not mutual, I guess, but like one of the YouTubers you and I like to watch, just put out a big long essay on Mad Men.
Huh? Who?
Jose.
Oh shit! Yes, I saw that and I was like, "Fuck! I can't watch this." I really I will watch any of his stuff and like just be spoiled and everything. It's like I'm never gonna go watch Xena.
Yeah.
But I should probably just try to watch Mad Men.
I might try to watch Mad Men too.
I feel like you would like it because it's very 1960s America, and that seems like you're fine.
So my biggest problem with Mad Men is that the drama comes into the fact that you're supposed to be shocked that the characters are acting this way, not necessarily that the characters are going to be in trouble for acting the way they do.
I mean, I just finished Sopranos. Like that's just A B to hit the eventual C, which is Breaking Bad, which actually revolutionized like the anti-hero show.
That's also, I think, the other problem is that I started watching it right after I finished Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. So it was just like, oh, there's just a better version of like this type of character. But I think John Hamm's really good at it.
That's the thing. I love John Hamm.
And he's like, every time he's on screen, he's like, I just like watching you, bud. It's just like, it's so charming.
And the cast does seem good. It's just like another thing where it's like, I think the art form of the drama has been elevated. We're going to talk about Severance later. So it's like, we're going places with this like medium. And I just don't think some of these shows were quite there yet. And maybe, I don't know, that's recency bias. But I love Twin Peaks. I'll throw that out there. I like that. I much prefer Twin Peaks to The Sopranos if you're comparing the two. And that show is fucking bonkers. But it was very charming.
Well, you just like bonkers things. That's just a given.
Not always. No, not complete absurdism.
I mean, not complete absurdism, but like thoughtful absurdism.
Twin Peaks is like branching that line into complete absurdism sometimes.
Yeah.
I still recommend that show to you guys. Especially, I think Bradley would like Twin Peaks.
Yes, he would.
I like to listen to you talk about that one.
I described it as Lovecraftian, Bradley, and I still hold by it. Like there's some unknowable horror in that universe.
I love not knowing about things.
And you never will. Yeah, Jesus.
And we'll never know.
Yeah.
R.I.P. the goat.
Well, even while he was alive, he's like, yeah, I ain't telling you shit. How you felt is the meaning. And I was like, damn, that is baller, actually. Okay, Joe, why don't you go next?
Yeah, so I've been playing a lot of like Star Wars Unlimited, which is the Star Wars CCG over at my locals. It's been a really good like Wednesday thing. It's unfortunate because it takes up my usual Warhammer spot, so I'm trying to balance it out in terms of like going back and forth between the two. But I've been like kind of devoting more of my time to that because it's a lot easier to go in, play a few games, and leave than in Warhammer. Just in terms of like things I have to take, the length of the games, how angry my opponent usually gets. But I've been really enjoying it. They recently just did some bans and banned so they had two like big like tournaments happen. The top 60 was 78% the same leader. Like it was kind of ridiculous.
It is hard to balance these things, it appears.
Yes. Yeah, and so they've banned him, and they've banned two other key cards. One of them for that same deck, but that card also was just like really good. And the other one was for a deck that they immediately saw like if we ban this leader is going to immediately take over. So we just need to get rid of him, or get rid of this play pattern, I should say. Essentially, what the leader did was like what he can do is he can take one of the cards from his hand and put it down as a resource to be used, but then he has to defeat one of his resources at the end of his turn. One of the cards you can play allows you to steal a resource from your opponent, so you can take their resource, do that effect, and then at the end of your turn, destroy the opponent's resource. So now you are basically up 2 and they're down 2 in terms of like mana difference.
Okay.
Yeah, so like it was really easy to pull off and cycle. So you could easily get to a point where like that leader was at like 10 mana and the opponent was at 3 for the rest of the game. So they just could not do anything. So those 2 bans have really opened up the meta now. So it's a lot of cool stuff's happening. But I've been really, really enjoying it a lot. I also am starting to dive into the more casual format called Twin Suns, which is basically you have 2 leaders. Your deck is 80 cards instead of the standard 50, and your deck can only be made of 1-ofs, so you can't have any repeats in your deck. It's a 4-player free-for-all game mode where you're all like sitting at the same table and going around the table and doing actions. I got to borrow someone's deck to play it for the first time. It was a lot of fun. A lot of shit talking, a lot of kind of just like table negotiations as well.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah, so it was a lot of fun. I really, really enjoyed it. And then with that, I kind of just like being in the Star Wars mood. I started rewatching Clone Wars, which is the old Cartoon Network show.
Much beloved from what I've seen.
Much beloved. I still enjoy the show a lot. I think there's some really like rough stuff, especially in like season 1. Like season 1, man, they had no budget. Like the first definitely like 15 episodes, they were like, we have to get these out. And basically like a very long pilot, if I remember correctly, of just like, here's like what the show is and how much attention it can get. It ended up working for a while because it did garner another 6 seasons.
Damn.
Yeah. Until it was canceled it was only canceled because Disney bought Lucasfilms and they wanted to transfer all the Star Wars content to their channels. And so they're like, we're just going to start a whole new project. And then finally they ended up closing out the entire series with season 7 that came out a few years ago. But the show's enjoyable. I really enjoy it, and it's like I watch. I'm like, cool. This gives me like good Star Wars vibes and everything. I also totally forgot that they started doing these mini series called the Tales of series, which basically like take up the different portions of the universe. There's Tales of the Jedi. There's Tales of the Empire. And they just announced Tales of the Underworld, which is coming out on May 4th. So I need to like dive into those 2 because I just never got around the chance of watching them. But I have nothing more to say about it. That's just kind of like what I've been doing. I don't have a lot going on. The final thing I have written down here that isn't homework check-in is the new Arkham Horror expansion just came out. I am sitting with it up in my... I'm not sitting with it. It's up in my room right now waiting to be played.
Oh, shit. You have it. You have it with you, and you haven't played it yet.
Yeah, my friends are busy, and we're just waiting to like get it done, like just find a time because we're gonna do it basically in one weekend because that's just how we'd like to do it because otherwise we'll just never get it done.
Yeah, those things are chunky.
They are chunky. This one in particular. So the thing about this expansion was a long time ago, back when first of all, this is the 10th expansion in the entire series, which is big in itself. The second thing is back in like the 2nd or 3rd expansion, the lead designer of the expansion was like, hey, why don't y'all have Cthulhu in it? Or do y'all have any plans for Cthulhu? And the lead designer went, well, if we ever do Cthulhu, it's probably the end of the game. This expansion is about fighting Cthulhu.
Well,
yeah,
it's been real. I won't forget you, buddy.
But they did come out and say like this isn't going to be the last expansion. This is the last one that we had planned in this stage of the game's life cycle. And then they explained what they're doing forward because basically like with 10 of these expansions out, there is not enough press room for they keep them all in print. So they have to like start cycling cards and campaigns out just because like if they want to keep making new product, something has to like go away, basically. So they're sunsetting some of those older expansions and cards, which is good and bad because it's bad for FOMO, but good because it means they can open up design space or like do some new cards that previous cards were doing. So, but I'm excited to play it when it finally does come out. I'm gonna play the one-handed Fisher Lady, which will be fun. So, but yeah, I'm excited to play when we get the chance. We just have to get it scheduled. And then finally, Bradley, you mentioned this I think before the podcast, but I just wanted to see if you had played any more Silent Hill beforehand.
I was curious on this the other day too, for some reason.
So that's the thing. Tomorrow.
Yes, tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow I have the day off work, so we're just gonna do like a 10 to 12 hour Silent Hill 2 sesh.
Oh fuck!
Nice.
Because we haven't done one since our last one, just because we both have been so busy.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna see how much we can get through tomorrow. Like now that I'm through the tutorial sections, I feel like it's time for some juicy story.
Yes.
I'm excited for it.
I'm excited for you to get there. Like, the unfortunate thing about Silent Hill 2, this is my big thing. It's about 20 to 25 hours, depending on your difficulty. I think it could have been like 15. I think they just added a little bit too much stuff in between. I don't think it detracts from the entire experience, but there were points where I'm like, I've been in this building for a long time. I kind of want to leave.
Yeah, have fun with the hospital, kiddo.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
But I'm excited because you're definitely at the part now where like, all right, let's get into the weird shit of this game. So take notes. I'll have a lot of questions for you probably when you get out of it the next time around, and you'll complete your minimum viable homework.
Hell yeah. No, I'm excited to, like, this has been a beloved game for a very, very long time. Like, obviously before it was even remade, so I'm excited to see what it's all about.
Yeah.
Joe, pick me.
No.
Oh.
Yeah, go ahead, Willer.
I've made some progress recently. It was very little.
Yeah.
I finally jumped back on Baldur's Gate 3 for a little bit. Making progress. I'm out of, like, that zone that is undoubtedly going to be my least favorite part of the game looking back on it. Like, I don't think we'll hit anything that low again. Because now we're cruising. I went through, like, this dark region where I had to, like, stick by the light and walk around with a torch, and I had to figure out how to light a torch. All sorts of fun. Shart is out here doing stuff. Gale just got some like big plot things where it's hey, I'm tasking you with this cool side mission.
You got the reveal of what his thing is, right?
Yeah, it's like, hey, you know that gimmick that we were worried about? Don't worry about that anymore. We have a way. We'll stop that temporarily, and then you go blow yourself up. It's like, oh, sweet.
So fun fact, Willer, I don't know if you know this, but that is an ability you can use technically.
No, I hovered over that. I don't know if that was always there, but last play session I hovered over that. I was like, huh.
No, that shows up then. It's like
okay, cool.
Yeah, that character comes in. It's like, all right, Gale, here's this ability you have. You get to do it once, and they are very firm on that once.
Okay, question about that. Can I revivify him after?
No, it is immediate game over.
God,
if
damn.
you do it.
It's game over. I can't like walk away.
It's a nuclear bomb.
Yeah, maybe I just like solo control him and like walk him deep into a goblin camp that really has been doing that.
It's Carl's Doomsday scenario.
That is the same vibe I get. Look at the parallels of the media I consume. It was a good session, Joe, and
good.
I'll throw in that the final update apparently came out just yesterday. So next time I get a chance to play, hopefully sometime this weekend, I'm going to transition, I think, Asterion into a swashbuckler, so he can be a little piratey vampire guy. And I think I'm going to make Will maybe a Hexblade if I like the way it's going.
Yeah.
I'll also say my fucking my Carlock kicks so much ass. She is that one class that gets like a huge jump if she's 2 meters above the enemy. So I just like navigate her up slopes so she's just barely meeting the threshold, and then she goes and just like dive bombs motherfuckers.
See, you're getting it now. This is what it is. It's all about.
No, yeah, it's been fun. It's just like the open world RPG-ness of it all kind of like bogs me down sometimes, but you know I'm enjoying the game.
Yeah.
Plus, Monster Hunter pilled, so it's like now that I'm not playing every day, I can play something else.
Yeah. So did you, when it came to that second area, have you did you go to the like inn, or did you just go straight to the tower?
Yeah, I went to the inn. I did the fight that happens there. I was able to stop the bad thing from happening temporarily.
Yeah. So fun fact, that fight was fucking hard the first time it came out. In the
Really,
game. Yes.
It was him alone in a room with my entire party plus one. So we just kind of fucking went ham on him.
Oh no. He used to summon like 3 or 4 additional dudes with him.
No. So they got there eventually. Like they walked in turn 1 or 2, but I think I did something that just like took him out of the commission, and then we just focused him.
Oh, nice. No, like they spawned in there with him, and like
I think they walk in, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they had. I think they've changed like where they spawned, because they originally just like flew in the window with them, and like they would literally like cause bleed, knock you down, and then like just go straight for that person, and you're like, what the fuck? I had to do some chicanery to get that done.
Now you want to talk about bad menus? I do not enjoy the inventory in this game, and I have a mod that makes it better. So even the better inventory, I don't like.
I think the inventory system on PlayStation is not very good. It doesn't help that you have like 100 things and they're all tiny.
Oh, it wouldn't matter what console or system I was in. It's abysmal to look at is the problem.
Oh, it's different on PC.
I mean, okay.
Yeah, it's like way more navigable on PC because you have like a mouse to do things.
But still, you have so many fucking items in there. It's like, I'm just trying to find my torch. I can't find it. Like,
for that you just click on like the hand item slot, and it brings up all possible hand items on PC.
I did not know that was a thing. Cool.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's homework check-in for now.
Tyler, have you played any more Space Marine 2? I know you haven't, but I just thought I'd ask you.
No, I have not. You were right.
Yep.
You got me.
Yep. All right. New update just came out. I did want to ask then from Tyler or Bradley if y'all had any recommends or wants for me to play this year.
Recommend or die.
I have a candidate or two that I'm trying to narrow down.
Ooh, Bradley, it's time. This motherfucker is reading Worm.
No, I want to make it a game.
Oh man,
and I have one or two in mind, so I don't know.
I will say I did say I will play something, not necessarily I would read something.
You let me give you a reading assignment. By the way, your homework check, Joe. Have you done either of the 2 path? Because I took a 2 for 2. Have you done either of the 2 that I've recommended?
Nope. Okay. Have you played Alan Wake 2?
Well, we should both be at 1. I'm just saying.
One of those, I might have to end up buying for myself, even though I was given it for free, just because I don't have access to the platform effectively.
It was Hi-Fi Rush and and Elden Ring, right? That's the ones I said.
Or Elden Ring, yeah.
Yeah, and then
played Elden Ring.
Well, it was beat Elden Ring and then the DLC.
Yeah.
And then it was Naruto, Bleach, or Haikyuu for
number 2.
Path 2.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you, I'm like 60 chapters into Naruto manga.
Oh, it's fucking. Tell me that shit's not good, dude. Still.
Oh, the anime is so much better.
Okay, well, this is known that you don't like. I'm just saying.
No. Like, it is factually better. Like, this guy in the Zabuza fight is talking about magical powers. Like, he had no idea what he was writing about then. He was kind of making it up.
That's just that would also be in the anime. It's just a different translation.
No, it's he knows it's ninjutsu and genjutsu and shit. He is not calling his water ninjutsu magic.
That is Viz had a really bad translation for the beginning of Naruto.
Yeah, so right now, when they figured their shit out, the anime is still better.
I'm just saying that the story of Naruto is good. That's all. I was just trying to connect with you on something that you like, but you went ahead and shat on it, so I don't know. We have no common ground, I guess.
Here's what I'll say. I'm liking it's very interesting in the manga because of how fast everything moves, and there is a
Pacing.
very quick jump
Pacing.
from like Naruto has to stop being a kid. Like, I feel like his childish whims are highlighted a lot more in the manga.
The filler might
it's
help.
Huh?
The filler might help the anime in that way by having like a couple more child Naruto scenes.
Yeah, and like, no, I still get those things in the manga a lot, but it's like, you know, like,
it's not
it's
long.
20 chapters in, and Zabuza is like killing people and trying to murder them. And I'm like, oh shit, this turns real quick, you know?
It is not long until Naruto is trying to genuinely kill Haku. It is like 18 chapters into the story, because in Fox mode, and then not too long from then, he's like already like fighting Gaara for his fucking life. So it's like, yeah.
I'm midway through the Chunin exam.
Yeah, those sound ninjas are freaky.
That is the fight I'm currently on.
I read all of like part 1 of Naruto like a year or two ago as a reread.
I'm gonna read all of this and then all of Shippuden, and then I might rewatch Shippuden.
If you get to Shippuden, let me know. I would like to read it because I read the Kaze rescue arc, like the first one. It was good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was remembering, I kind of like everything in Naruto until like the war gets like particularly messy. Like it doesn't really miss up until then. But,
yeah, I've been getting clips, so like I want to experience the good shit again.
Yeah, some of that Shikamaru content. I know you're feeding.
So we're making Joe read Naruto.
Well, no, it's that or Bleach or Haikyuu. I would be more curious on his Bleach and Haikyuu takes, but he might want to go the Naruto route.
No. Joe's seen Naruto. He knows Naruto.
Well, he hasn't seen all of it, and I think it's better as an adult. It's one
You
of
haven't
those.
finished Naruto, Joe?
I had finished Naruto long ago. Long ago.
I mean, you don't remember shit.
I
He
know.
knows about the second one.
I know about the second one. I mention the second one all the time.
See, I wasn't sure if you mentioned that one because you knew or because we say it. It's not. It wasn't clear. Man, that scene's good. Like
Who's the guy that wrote Naruto?
Kishimoto.
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 Yeah, Kishimoto, who fortunately has not had a good hit after.
Yeah.
But,
Kishimoto goes, "What are you gonna do about the second one?" And then he drops Boruto.
More like you dropped Samurai 8 and no one liked that. That was the second one. Anyways, cool. Good homework check-in by all. Bradley still has to do his quickies. I mean, his pit stops.
Oh, yes. And, y'all have been doing a lot of DS gaming.
Wow, I'm shocked.
You have been.
So,
New hyperfixation dropped?
pretty much. A couple days ago, I wanted some pit stop fodder. So,
Nice.
on our way back from dinner, we stopped by a used game store, went to their DS section, found a little $9.99 masterpiece called Lego Battles, which, for the most part, I've been buying DS games I have played before just because I wanted to replay them. This is a game I've never played before and also did not know it existed. But I saw it in the store, I looked it up, and I was like, oh my god, a Lego RTS? I love RTSs. Fucking love Legos. Let's get it. And it was really close to being a really good game.
Oh.
Cause like, I don't know, it has all the basic RTS. It doesn't do a whole lot that other RTSs don't do. I think the main appeal for me is just that it's Lego themed, which is enough of an appeal. And there's actually a shitload of different units in here, because they have a bunch of different themed armies around, like the different Lego archetypes, like some of the classic Lego archetypes. Like, you know, they got your Lego Knights, your Lego Pirates, Lego Space. They have one army that's the French. And each one has a bunch of different, like, unlockable units that you can get from finding mini kits in the different campaign levels, which is kind of cool because it reminded me of, like, the other Lego games where you find mini kits in the levels.
Mm-hmm.
This game's bad, though.
Oh.
Like, if there were 100 things I noticed about this game, 99 of them were good. But there's one critical thing in this game that is just so important for an RTS, and if it's bad, the whole game is bad. It doesn't matter how much of the other stuff is good. The pathfinding
Ah,
is just, it's so ass. But if it was consistently ass in the same way, I'd probably still like this game. But it's not even consistent in how bad it is. So, like, if I tell the units to go somewhere, and there's a wall in between where they are and their destination, 25% of the time, they'll walk in a straight line, hit the wall, and just be like, well, shit, there's a wall here. I'm just going to stop here. Another 25% of the time, they will walk all the way to the wall and then realize that's not a viable path, and then they will, like, repath and take an actually correct one. But then, another 25% of the time, it works like every other RTS, and they just pick the correct path the first time. And then the last 25% of the time, they will walk in a straight line, hit the wall, not move for 2 or 3 minutes, and then out of nowhere, figure out the correct path and then back it up and go hit that.
the Nintendo DS was not a powerful system, you see.
And that's, I don't know, it pissed me off because everything else about the game I liked, and Lego Rock Raiders was a real-time strategy Lego game that was made over 10 years before, and the pathfinding was perfectly fine. So I don't know what their fucking deal is. So, I don't know. I didn't play a whole lot of that, and I don't know if I'll play much more of it. But
I found some visual aids. I at least like it's got the vibes. It's got some.
It's got Lego vibes.
it
Yeah.
has a very good feeling vibe when I'm in there. I was prepared to have a great time, but I was like, "Holy shit,
I
don't
was
wanna have to-"
prepared to have a great time.
You really have to, like, hold every individual unit's hand to get them where they're going. You can't do what you're supposed to do in an RTS, which is give a group a command, fuck off for a minute, go do something else, and then come back and check on them. Like, if you were moving a group, you have to move them just, like, one little bit at a time.
This isn't even a game for babies. This is a game where your units are the babies. So
Your units are the baby. It's like pets, you know?
It's a
You're
baby
taking
simulator.
care of the little Lego dudes. Now, aside from that, I've been playing more Kingdom Hearts Recoded, and for reference, last time we talked, I had about 60 hours.
oh god.
Right now, I'm over 130 hours.
Woo!
So
Jesus.
this is a pit stop topic.
Over double.
Yeah, this is a pit stop topic, but it is what I've been doing for most of the time. Because I beat the game very shortly after we talked last time. And then that's when I started doing post-game stuff, and I learned a lot of stuff I didn't know last time, which some of it I shared with you guys, where my new big post-game goal I want to do is beat this secret boss that requires you to get through a 99 floor dungeon, which you can only unlock through doing tag mode and tagging other people who also have the game in tag mode, which is impossible. So I found out some cool stuff about tag mode. First of all, you don't need other real people. If you just leave it alone on your desk, which I've been doing at work, maybe once every 30 minutes to an hour, the game will just take pity on you, and they have like a little over 100 just made-up profiles for you to tag with. Which was kind of fun because some of those profiles are like themed after Organization 13 members, or like characters from Final Fantasy V or some shit. Like they'll just pick I don't know. And you can unlock like clothing items from all the different Final Fantasies. Like I have Bartz's hair and Zidane's tail and shit like that.
That's kind of weird. Zidane being referenced in the Kingdom Hearts games.
I know, right?
Weird.
And then I found out how the tag mode works, where it's like every player, every cartridge has a different 99 floor dungeon, and the floors of the dungeon are determined by what people you run into, because when you enter tag mode, you basically design a dungeon floor that will be given to someone when you tag them and insert it into the next slot of their 99 floor dungeon.
So immediate pause. What is your design? What did you do?
So I want to be a cool guy, and if I ever tagged with someone, they would get a very simple floor layout, and it would be full of prize blocks to just give them points for more to spend on.
Oh, boo! You didn't even try.
So you can be a cool guy, or you can be a fucking asshole, and you can make it a long, twisty maze floor, and you can add a challenge that, like, you have to get through the floor in 30 seconds or less, or some shit.
So, I'm trying to... So, like... How do I phrase this question? You make a dungeon floor.
Yeah.
First of all, what is that process like in like a user experience sense?
It's not that in depth. Like you have some parameters. Like you can say like I want it to be really twisty and I want it to have like a custom challenge, but for the most part it'll procedurally generate the layout.
Can you decide what enemies are spawned or what kind of prizes are given?
I don't think so. I think that is determined on the depth of the floor in the person's dungeon. So like you're deciding like the challenge and like kind of like the general philosophy it'll use for procedurally generating the layout. But like if that same floor was on someone's floor 2, they'd mostly be fighting shadows, but if it was another person's floor 90, they would have like invisibles and the angel heartless and shit.
And then when you're playing through it, it is recoded like 3D movement around a randomly generated environment.
Correct. Okay. And the reason a 99 floor dungeon is fucking ridiculous is as you're going through these floors, you're basically racking up score, and you can get a shitload more if, you know, you're completing the challenges that people assign to their floors. And so you need to get a shitload of points to actually be able to afford the rewards at the end of the dungeon. But if you die, you lose half of all the points you've accrued, which, like, if you're 60 floors in, you're losing, like, 200,000 points, and I need 500,000 to get that new ultimate move, you know what I mean? Which, by the way, this game has an amazing post-game for a Kingdom Hearts game, because I don't think you will run out of, like, new upgrades to get. Like, that stat matrix thing where you're slotting in chips to give yourself bonus fire resist or bonus strength or make your cure better. You can keep doing this post-game dungeon to try to buy new chips at the shop at the end. So I don't know. It's kind of fun to just keep rolling through, which is why I have 130 hours, and I'm still not even level 99. Which I'm gonna have to be, because the levels of the enemies is determined by what floor you're on. So by the time I get to like floor 98, 99, I feel like I'm gonna be getting my ass kicked. But also, this is the really cool thing about tag mode. Whenever you tag with someone, whatever, you get their floor. That's not even the fun part. When you tag with someone, you get a little scratch off to do on the touchscreen. And there's like a dozen different scratch offs you can get based on different Disney worlds. And whenever you scratch them off, they give you stuff back in your actual main save file. Like, one of the best skills in the game is called Judgment Triad, and I didn't get it until like 100 hours in, and I got it from a fucking scratch off. And I was like, oh, hell yeah. And even then, there are some scratch offs I haven't gotten because, like, if your avatar has clothes that match with the people you meet, your happiness level goes up, and your happiness determines the drop rate of different scratch off cards. So I haven't even gotten the Disney Princess one yet, and I don't know, maybe that one has really good rewards. Oh my god, what else do you get? You get Dalmatians, which it only took me a couple days to get all 99 floors of my 99 floor dungeon, but at 130 hours I have like 30 Dalmatians.
Oh
which I got all 99, because if you get all 99, you get a special ultimate finishing move back in the main game that you can only get by getting all the Dalmatians.
Right. What floor on your dungeon are you again? I think you said, but...
I've unlocked all 99 floors, but I've only gotten about as far as 60.
Okay. Making progress.
So, I don't know. That's been really fun to jump over to that mode and then jump back into the main game to try to do more of the post-game stuff on that half, because this game has trophies built into it, kind of like the Kingdom Hearts games on PlayStation, so I'm trying to get all the trophies. I have like 7 out of 30. But what's really cool is every trophy you beat gives you a reward. On the stat matrix, you get these trophy chips for each achievement you beat, and when you slot trophy chips in, each one gives you a crap load of stats. So it's actually worth it to try to, 100% and get the trophies. It's not just for clout. So I've been liking that. There's trophies I have to get, like, you can go back and replay worlds, so it's like, oh, if you beat Traverse Town in 3 minutes, you get a trophy, blah, blah, blah. Also been trying to max out all the Keyblades, because they're upgradable, and I'm at the point now where I'm like, I've kind of found the different builds each Keyblade is meant for. And it's cool that each Keyblade does have several different builds you can do.
That's cool.
Like there's one has an ability called Targeting Scope, which makes your melee attacks ranged. So like if there's a Heartless 100 feet away from you and you swing towards it, you'll hit it as if you hit like the Keyblade.
That far?
Yeah, but here's the thing: if you want to use that ability, you have to go a route on the ability tree for that Keyblade that takes it away from all the stuff like attack boost, or like that same Keyblade has abilities that makes it so every single hit is a critical. So it's like you can go for the weaker ranged hits, or you can go for the up close, you're just knocking people the fuck out build. Or I really liked the Chocobo, where it has lifesteal on your attacks, and then it also has an ability on the ability tree that makes it so your attacks won't be deflected by like hitting a large body in the front. So I can just spam X to just slice enemies up and refill my health. I don't know. This game has a lot of really good opportunities for making different builds. So I'm probably gonna keep cooking on this. Hopefully I'll get all 30 trophies one day.
By the sounds of it, you're like optimistically a third of the way through. Like,
oh my god!
Believe in you, Bradley.
I'm worried for you.
So we have other DS games coming up later, but that's been like the one that's been eating most of my time.
Excellent. All right, let's get the show on the road and talk about
starting the podcast.
Come on, we're an hour 6 minutes in. But we actually have, relatively speaking, not too many topics, but I think 2 of those would be pretty big.
Yeah, we got 2 really good ones.
Joe, hit us up with some XCOM information. I know you were playing it last time.
Okay. I think I actually started playing it right after we finished the podcast. Like, so in my like top 10 like pantheon of games, like it's a pretty fluid like list. Like not a lot of things like stay within like the hemisphere. Sometimes I'm like, oh, the game goes down to like 8. This game goes down to like 3.
Expenses are subject to change.
Yeah, a lot. And but there's one game that is not true for. That is XCOM 2 War of the Chosen. Specifically XCOM 2 War of the Chosen. It is like that DLC like tears the game from like an actual like 6.5 to 7 game to like a 10.5 out of 10 game.
Okay.
I think.
What else? Do?
So like okay, so if you don't know the plot of XCOM 2,
you fight aliens.
You fight aliens. The plot of XCOM 2 is you lost XCOM 1.
Shit.
So you start off kidnapped, and you are being used by the aliens that have taken over Earth for some nefarious purpose. And you essentially act as a guerrilla cell that is going to overthrow the alien government. And it's very much like it's like the best way to describe it is like military Nuzlocke, where like you have these individual soldiers and you upgrade them and you customize them and you treat them with every care, but they can just die in the middle of a fucking mission. You've lost all of that hard work.
Kind of
they do die.
Into the breachy, I guess.
Kind of. Whereas Into the Breach is like very like contained with its own campaign that's very short. Like you can go through an entire campaign of Into the Breach in like 30 minutes, if not less.
Which I love about it. Man, I should play Into the Breach again.
Yeah, XCOM is a long game where it's like you are going to grind through 30 hours of this game, and like you're gonna hope and pray that this guy you've had since mission 1 makes it to the end.
I was about to say that would kind of up the stakes for me. I'd be like, I've had this dude with me for 21 hours. I can't let him go.
Yeah, you can customize him, and you can like do stuff like where he has like guile hair, and he just has the fucking shades on, or like there's so much customization in the game. And there's also like a poster mode, so like every time after a mission, you can like make a custom poster for like the guys that are on your team, and those posters then are used as propaganda posters throughout the game. You see them on like walls and stuff of like where you have resistance fighters, so you get to see them as you do these missions. What the War of the Chosen introduces, it introduces two main things. The first one is these different guerrilla cells that are resisting the alien factions that are more unique. They're like individual. So you have the Reapers, which are like your kind of standard like Metro 2033 gas mask with a sniper, stealth people. Like they sneak around, they do sniper shots and like sabotage and like bomb planting, which is pretty cool. Then you have God, I forgot what they're actually called. The skirmishers, where they are there's a part of the alien empire that is essentially like humans that have been mutated by alien DNA and like brainwashed, and they are a sector of that empire that has broken the brainwashing and has turned against the alien empire. And so they're like brute grunts where they have like grappling hooks and they're zipping across the entire like area, and they have like, and they do a lot of melee stuff. Their big like gimmick is that they can shoot twice, which is like in the game, if you attack once with a unit, it immediately ends turn. So it's really important that you do that at the right time. And then the final faction is the Templars, which are these psychically attuned humans, and they have these like thick body suits that they use that's like very 40k-ish, that they use to like channel their psychic energy, and they have these psychic blades, and they have their own like psychic power like skill tree they have to go through and do. And it adds a lot of flavor to the to your roster of like very standard soldiers. So you have these like specialized units that you can go in and out, and they still act all the same too. Like they get injured, so they go onto like your like health, like your injury list, and they have to sit out for a few days, or they just fucking die and you've lost that, and that lowers your faction. Also, you're building up reputations with these factions, so if one dies, it lowers your reputation, which makes it harder for you to get another one later or do better missions for them, because you're trying to build up that reputation to have them help you out. The more important thing that this game adds is the Chosen. The Chosen are three like captains within the alien empire that are like gifted by the imperial overlords, and their sole purpose is for them to hunt you down, kill your entire team, and kidnap you again. And these guys can show up on any of the missions. They just teleport in the middle of them, and they will wreck your shit if you're not ready. They're divided into like three. There's three of them. There's the assassin, who is the close-range stealth fighter, who will basically rush you down and just try to like capture or kill your dudes as soon as possible. There's the hunter, who is the long-range sniper, who is just trying to just pluck your guys off like one by one, just wants to eliminate your entire team. And then there's the warlock, who has all the more psychic like magical powers, and he buffs a lot of dudes. He summons like zombies. He turns like things into bombs so that when you kill them, they just explode. So you have to be actually really careful on like what you're fucking killing all the time. And what's great about these guys is that in every campaign you do, it shuffles up the strengths and weaknesses of these Chosen. So in one campaign, they might be like immune to any sort of like status effect, and they get to move twice as far, but are weak to attacks that are from a higher vantage point and from a certain like type of like unit that you may have. So you get to every time you run through the game, you get a different kind of way you have to tackle these these chosen, and they're such a great like addition to the game loop of like you're going in and you're doing these missions, and then this fucking boss shows up, and you're like, oh my god, I have to get out of here as quickly as possible. At least at the start of the game. As you progress more, you obviously get like stronger, get better technology, and you're able to like fight them off pretty easily. But they're still a really strong unit throughout the entirety of the game, and they are something you have to like deal with. They're never something you can ignore. You have to like deal with them in some capacity. They have their own doom clock as well. I don't know if y'all know this about XCOM 2, but essentially you are running against the clock of the aliens. The aliens have this bar at the top of the screen that will progress over time, and if it fills up, your game is over. You've lost. You've just fully like you're done.
Yeah. I've played sorry, was that Tyler?
I was saying the Pikmin clock.
Yeah. Collect all your parts.
Yeah.
I played some of this game. In fact, I think I have it for free as well on the PlayStation. I think I had it on the phone or like my iPad. But anyways, I should play it again sometime. But all that to say, like that's a really cool system that they have their own meta progression, and also like I feel like it adds to like just storytelling within the campaign, which is really special.
Sure. Yeah. Like it's just I feel so connected to like the soldiers that I have. Like I immediately like see like, and like I don't do a lot of customization for them, but like immediately I'm like, that's the guy with the guile haircut, and that is also the heavy. I immediately know who he is. I know what he can do, and I know his like skill tree and how he's loading out. And then that's the girl with like the half-shaved head. That's my other person as well, my ranger. Like it's like you get so attached. The guy with the bandana who's my medic.
I love that kind of shit. I mean, in like a lesser scenario, games like Valkyria Chronicles, Unicorn Overlord, just like that. That's my guy who does this kind of unit-based games are really fun.
Yeah, and like it's just I love that, and I think like the thing about XCOM that turns a lot of people off is the random roll. Like you have
it's a lot.
Yeah, and I totally get that, but there are that I think that adds to depth and tactical perception of the game, where it's like you will understand what can give you bonuses and try to like use that to your advantage and like know what shots you need to take. And so I just think it's like it has a really high floor in terms of like getting over that. I think especially when your guys just die, like that's literally hours of your life just like thrown away from like a random shot that can happen. And I totally get why, but like to me that's like kind of part of the fun is that like you don't know, like this 95% shot that will kill this guy misses, and I think that's a incredible thing of like, oh my god, that miss, I have to deal with this somehow, like loop to me. Like I love thinking on my feet and having to like scramble as part of it rather than just systematically like go through the motions.
I do greatly enjoy games that force me to scramble, so I can relate to that.
And like, and it's I think also like you were saying about the meta progression, like that's just a lot of things that a lot of like I wish Unicorn Overlord had, where it's like give me something that I am competing against, and I really like that aspect. That's fallen out of favor a lot because people like to play their games slowly, but like I feel like if I have all the time in the world, I'm just gonna like patter around and do whatever. Like when I see that bar go up, I'm like, all right, I have to go and take out the space. The space isn't in another region. I need to get the money for that region. What do I need to do? And I think that's just a great meta part of the game. Or like the Chosen's getting to a point where he's about to attack me. I need to take him out now. I'm just launching the mission. Just fuck it, we go. Because if I don't do it in the next like 2 days, he's probably going to try to kill me. So like this game is like I said before, it like sits at solidly number 5. And every time I play a new game, I think to myself, does this go in the top 10? And when I have that thought, I go, could this possibly be better than XCOM 2? And 90% of the time, the answer is no.
So is XCOM 2 your top 10 game, like, great gatekeeper?
Like the benchmark?
I see.
Yeah, it sits at 5, so things can go above and below it. But the minimum is, like, do I think it could potentially better than this? If it doesn't have that potential to me, then I just don't think it belongs up there.
On a On a small side note, as far as ranking things, I recently updated my favorite list of everything that I have. I have like my media, protagonist, and antagonist list. You know, I finished Grace of Kings not too long ago. We got Severance and Sopranos. Tony made it into my top 20 protagonists. I'll just throw that out there.
After all that media, you just got to recalibrate those lists.
I like making lists and ranking things. This is known about me.
It's true. That's why I have so many tier lists.
Grace of Kings definitely made a splash on the list. I'll just say that, and the main characters. It's funny. There's no antagonist in that book, really. When you think about, I mean, like, yeah, there's that one guy, but like, he's not list worthy.
He's like as much as an antagonist as like
the protagonists are. Like,
I think at one point I cheekily mentioned the protagonist, quote unquote, as the antagonist in that. God, I'm on the
No, I don't want to derail you with Grace of Kings, which I know is very easy.
But yeah, XCOM 2, like, it's just like it's one of those games. Also, I should mention, I beat this game fucking once. Period. I have started about 10 campaigns. I've beaten it once with the DLC, like, ever in my life. And it's just like it's just one of those games where it's like it kind of like it's the same feeling I gave with Darkest Dungeon 1, where it's like it just grinds on you and like, but in the best way possible. Like there's some determination. Like sometimes you just have to call it, but like when you push through, it feels so good to get that victory. I'm trying to like really push through for this one and get another victory on the screen, and then potentially work up to do an Iron Man run later.
That's the no saves, no retries, one life kind of thing, right?
You get one save, and you can save it whatever you want, but as soon
there's
as
no going back.
There's no going back, and there's like no like as soon as you do an action, it immediately saves it, kind of a thing.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Good luck.
And it's like, yeah, and man, so the first time I ever tried that, fun fact, my entire squad died the first mission.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I was just like, all right, I'll just immediately start over then. Okay. But yeah, XCOM 2, War of the Chosen specifically, like I think XCOM 2 base is an okay, fine game. War of the Chosen 2 is just incredible. Like, it's the way that game is meant to be played, and it's how it should be played. Like, there's no reason not to do it. I got it for like $4 for the expansion on PlayStation because I owned the free version, so that was nice.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I also own the free version on PlayStation, so maybe... You know, Joe, it's compelling, what the things you say. You're a compelling guy.
This is, like, you know, we talked about Yakuza 0 last year, and, like, this is it for me. You know, in terms of, like, this is one of my favorite things. Good luck in a small room with me trying to debate it.
Sure.
Yeah. Anyways.
That wraps up a peak game. I am pretty excited to check that out at some other point. Like, again, it's been so many years, right? It's just one of those things. It's like a 2016 game or something.
Yeah, I realized I was like, oh my god, it's 10 years old. Please kill me.
Not quite. It's getting there.
Yeah. No, it came out like I'll look it up. I'm pretty sure it came out in 2015.
Maybe 2014. Oh my god, if it's 2014, I might just die live on podcast.
Oh no, okay. War of the Chosen came out 2017, so we're okay.
Yeah, okay, but XCOM 2, the version I played.
Oh no, I'm at 2016. It's all fine. It's all good.
Okay.
It's all good.
I'll live. All right.
One more year.
We have a bit of a Pokemon block here.
We sure do.
Bradley's been playing some DS Pokemon games. I've been dabbling in some Pokemon stuff as well. And I think Tyler has maybe... Oh, he talked about Pokemon Violet. So, very stacked Pokemon day. But Bradley, why don't you, like, take us away with your recent DS games that you've been playing?
Yeah, so out of all the DS games I've been buying on eBay and at used game stores, by far the most expensive one has been Pokemon Conquest, because I think people recognize how awesome this game is. I remember back when it came out, I was just drawn to it because I'm like, Final Fantasy Tactics, but it's Pokemon?
Yeah.
Let's go.
So how is it?
it's really fun. There's the I'll start with the one negative of the game because I feel like it's only one negative.
He hates
but
it.
it is a
He
negative.
hates it.
No, my big deal is each Pokemon has one move. So like the Pokemon is the move.
Yeah.
It's not like
They're a
regular
function.
Pokemon where you have Pokemon can know 4 moves. It's not like Final Fantasy Tactics where you can like learn new skills. It's just I don't like this Pokemon does roll out. This is the Pokemon that does double slap. This is the Pokemon that does psychic. So I don't know, and that it's kind of lame in that regard. I don't know. Sometimes you want more versatility.
Honestly, sounds horrendously lame. If I'm being honest, that's
it's not fun. It's not fun to be reminded of it.
Yeah.
Everything else about the game I really like because even so, it is still a Pokemon tactics game, which is a pretty rare thing. And even with the singular moves, there's some cool stuff you can do where, like, one stage... Every stage is based around a type. Like, every arena you can fight in is based around a different type. So, like, obviously the water arena has, like, these rivers that make it impassable for anyone but water types and Pokemon who can fly, but you can hit these switches that will, I guess, raise and lower dams to make it so you can pass. But the fighting type arena has... It's like a... It's basically like a fighting ring in the middle, and you can ring people out. But there's also these bells off to the side, and if you hit the bell, it raises the attack for your team.
Oh, that's cool.
And so I'm like, oh my god, Jigglypuff has double slap, which hits stuff 3 to 5 times. So it's like, bam, 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 hit the bell 3 times. And so I'm like, okay, there's some cool stuff you can do.
I'll also point out, right, like, you're in a squad. So yes, you have... I've never played this game, but I know it in passing. But you're a squad of Pokemon, so you have a meta strategy of your squad. But also, don't the partner humans have abilities as well? So you're technically, like, a little bit more than just your one move.
And that's the thing. So that gives you a little bit more control. So each Pokemon has its own stats, like its attack, defense, and speed, and its move, and even its passive ability. And yeah, every Pokemon is paired with I don't know if they're called trainers. You could call them warlords. I don't know. I'm gonna call them trainers. Each trainer also has their own strength, defense, and speed stat. So you can choose a trainer to go with a Pokemon to help cover its weak areas, or you can just make a glass cannon, even more of a glass cannon to make it super strong. And the trainers also have their own, like, sub-passive abilities. So yeah, you do get a little bit more control over your army. And I'm sure there's a lot more depth to this game in the post-game, because every time I've played through this, I just play through the first main story and then quit there. Which means I've never unlocked Mewtwo. There's, like, these post-game campaigns you can go on that I'm sure are much harder and would require me to do more team building.
May I incentivize you a little bit? I just shared with you, and this is in our normal channel,
See it.
a 2.5 hour tier list breakdown of every pair in the game that I watched. I watched this years ago doing work. You know, one of those things that you just have on in the background or work. And like the way that the dude was talking about all the teams and synergies, I was like, this is a game that I think I would really like. I've never played this. I am almost afraid of playing it because I think I would like it a lot and then be crushed that I'll never get a follow-up. So if Bradley comes out of like this experience and he says, actually, Wheeler, you should play this game, I will finally play it. If he's like, it was okay, I'll keep holding off for now.
I think you absolutely should play
it. God damn it.
Look, I don't want to give anybody too much of a negative opinion with the whole one move thing. I just wanted to start with the one bad thing.
Do let me know.
That is the one bad thing in this game. Everything else I love.
If you do get a chance to check out that video, do let me know what you think of, like, if you learned anything from it, or like if there was stuff you didn't consider with like the strategy.
Yeah, no, I feel like it'll inspire me because I'm like, with the amount of post-game campaigns there has to be like a lot more depth to this.
It'd be really funny if it turns out Bradley missed some like key mechanic and like there's actually a way to get like 2 moves or something while he's
That'd be
listening to
badass.
this.
I doubt it. I don't
Yeah.
think that's the case because I do
I don't think
do
that's
remember.
the case either.
Yeah, but it seems like there's some sauces there because the dude was yapping for 2.5 hours, so there's got to be something going on.
So Pokemon Conquest, it's always a recommend. It's just a great game. I wish there was more like it. The only complaint is there isn't more.
Yeah,
honestly,
feel that.
Like aside from I wish Pokemon could know more moves. I wish there was also just more Pokemon. Not that there's a shortage of Pokemon, but
You always, I mean,
want
we're all
more,
greedy. Like, yeah, any game that has a limited roster, I want that roster to be more. Like, as far as Pokemon goes. So.
yeah. I think this game, it came out when Gen 5 was still very new, so it's primarily Gen 1 and Gen 5, but not only. Like, they do still have some Gen 2, Gen 3, Gen 4s in there. So they do have a cool selection.
Cool.
They got Blastoise.
I do believe
Joe,
they have...
I know they have Charizard anyway.
Well, yeah, the sky is blue, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Fucking fraud ass game.
Fraud ass Pokemon. Hold on. Pokemon Conquest Blastoise.
Yeah, we gotta confirm if there's a Blastoise in here.
Oh, shit, man. I feel like I should be finding it a lot easier than I am. I don't think he's in there.
Oh, no.
Oh, my God. What the hell?
Unplayable.
Pokemon Conquest roster.
Yeah, see if there's a good one on there you like.
Ah, shit. Hold on. Anyways, keep yapping. Talk about the other
keep
game.
going.
So, Pokemon Ranger, I actually have not been playing. I've been sitting on Emmy's shoulder like a little parrot as she plays it. Because I've been doing all my DS gaming, and she's like, well, now I want to fucking play some DS games. So this was her big Pokemon game growing up. And I never really knew much about it other than you make circles on the screen.
Yeah, that's what I know.
But even then, I didn't even know what that entails. So, not a lot to talk about here. But I just kind of wanted to shout out, like, it's a pretty unique gameplay mechanic. The way catching Pokemon in this works, and you're not, like, catching them in Pokeballs. You're a Pokemon Ranger, and essentially when you're catching a Pokemon, you're teaching it that people aren't to be feared. Like, I'm not here to hurt you, and then after that, they can help you out in the field. Like, I think catching Pokemon in this is kind of like catching HMs. Like, you befriend one by doing the challenge.
I see.
It can help you out in your field mission, like move a boulder or get across water or whatever. The way the catching works is cool. So every Pokemon has a number of loops you have to make around it with the stylus to catch it. And these have to be unbroken loops. So if I run into Arcanine and his number is 12, I have to put my stylus down, and then before picking it up, I have to make 12 unbroken loops to finish catching it. If I lift it up, you start over. Now, the first time I saw Emmy catch something, I realized everybody who's ever played this game definitely has some kind of muscle memory for it, because she probably did like 12 loops in the span of time I could do 2. Like, I couldn't even see your fucking hand moving.
She went, Star Pressner!
No, it was legit, like, I still got it. So, it was really funny. But the Pokemon will try to do things to prevent you from having complete loops. So, like, if I've drawn 75% of a circle, and Arcanine shoots out a little fire blast, and that fire blast hits the portion of the circle I've already completed, it'll break it and it'll stop my streak. Or there's a boss fight against Gyarados, and it's like, oh, that doesn't look so bad. For Gyarados, you'd think you would need more than 15 loops, but he constantly has a bunch of like Magikarp bouncing around him that will bump into your circle and ruin your streak.
So how can you counteract these attacks and Magikarp hazards?
So at least for the Magikarp, if there's ever more than one Pokemon on the screen, you don't have to circle all the Pokemon at once. You can try to circle one Pokemon at a time, which is tricky to do because they're all moving around. You could also try, like, oh man, so for example, I think it was Jigglypuff. Her move is that she's really small, so you're trying to do really small circles around her. But then every time you get 2 or 3 circles in, she would puff up like a balloon.
Cool.
And become like 10 times the size. So the secret to her is you can just do a big ass fucking circle. Just trace your stylus around the perimeter of the screen, and she won't be able to blow up big enough to.
Yeah, okay, that's immediately what I thought, because I was like, oh, I didn't know you had to be close to her.
But that's the thing, is you can't just go around the full perimeter of the screen for every Pokemon, because that's kind of slow, and Pokemon who attack really fast, unlike Jigglypuff, are probably going to hit that circle before you can complete the circuit.
What an interesting trade-off of, like, screen real estate to attack speed. Very cool.
No, that's the thing. It's why I wanted to shout out this game, because it really is like a balance between your attack speed is the circumference of the circle you are deciding to draw, and it's, I don't know, it's just really cool. It's a fun little mechanic.
Pokemon spin-offs are so fucking good. Like, they're always more quality than the main games, because the main games have to deal with their insane cycle, right? So like they're just like these little ideas that take the Pokemon IP and really expand on it. Even something as fucky as like a Pokemon Unite is like all the characters are so unique. And then you get to stuff like this or Mystery Dungeon. Oh my god, Mystery Dungeon's so good. So it's like, I'm a big fan of Pokemon spin-offs. And go ahead, Bradley.
I was gonna say, don't even get me started on Pokemon Dash.
Okay, is that legit? That one didn't seem good.
It wasn't. I think it was like...
Okay.
I think it was even the first Pokemon title to come out for the DS.
Yeah.
And I think it was just, this is how the touchscreen works.
I have seen the touchscreen of people who play Ranger enjoy that DS while it lasts, and because those screens get fucked up.
Oh yeah, Emmy said when she was little, her brother used like a pin instead of a stylus to play Pokemon Ranger, and she was like,
Oh
"No,
my
our DS just got
God.
fucked."
Oh my god.
Fucking savage.
If they still speak to this day, that shows her strength of character, because I wouldn't be able to do it.
Oh my god, he loves him, but she's like, that's not even the only DS he ended up trashing.
I've also, so every year I have like a Pokemon phase that fluctuates either in length or time of year. Usually it's in the wintertime. I skipped last year. I've been meaning to play the Pokemon Violet DLC, but now that the Switch 2 is coming out, I'm probably just going to wait for that. Like, why would I put myself through that if I could just wait a little longer and see if I get a Switch 2? And I've found, like, finally a good way to play Pokemon, because, you know, I am not baby anymore, but they have to make the games for everyone. I get it. But I still hold that the Pokemon battle system is one of the most brilliant, interesting battle systems of all time. Shout outs to that run and bun video that I posted the other day.
That's been I've been going through that. It's very entertaining.
Yeah, I would. You could break it up into chapters, but like the things you can do with the Pokemon battle system, if you're not catering to the mass, is actually insane. Like, you can make so many challenging little puzzle fights because the system is just that malleable, right? So I've been playing a little bit more of that Pokemon Unbound hack, which is still like one of the most well-renowned Pokemon Romhacks. I'm doing my little high score challenge where I have a random team. We don't get to grind at all. I get my shit kicked in. Feels great. So that's been fun. I think people really like that one because if you play it normally, it's just got a ton of content and like you can just do whatever. Like it's just like a very well fleshed out Pokemon game. And I've also booted up some of that run and bun game with the same challenge rules. I am not confident about ever beating that game. Even in a non-Nuzlocke setting, I don't think I can beat run and bun. That's how hard it is. I don't know if Tyler's currently here. He stepped out, but I think he was checking out the Mario Pokemon game that just came out, which looked pretty cool.
Mario ROM hack, I'm gonna have to try it.
Yeah.
It's like, a lot of times when I see something like a Dragon Ball Z ROM hack or a Digimon ROM hack, usually it's just like Fire Red, they just like swapped out the sprites or something.
Yeah.
So that's what I thought it was gonna be, but then I'm like, oh my god, they have all these custom backgrounds, and I don't know. It looks very impressive.
Yeah, they replaced 151 worth Pokemon of Mario enemies, which is like a good dex of like Fakemon to do.
It's the original dex.
Yeah. Well, you know, that's for babies. That's for 1994 suckers, and I'm living in big 2025. If my dex doesn't have at least 400 Pokemon, I don't want to hear it. But what I've been playing here and there, well, two. I've been playing Pokedoku, which Joe found one day. I was like, oh, this is so my fucking jam. It is Wordle. Yeah. It's a crossword puzzle, but it's Pokemon, and I have to like remember some niche shit. And no one plays the tic-tac-toe mode with me, and it makes me really upset that all my friends hate me.
Well,
I'm
part
just
of it,
mad. Oh my god.
Part of it is like I opened it up and tried like 2 of them, but I don't know Pokemon anymore. Like, there's too much of these fuckers. Like, I can't.
It's a good way to like refresh and teach yourself. Like, I'm learning shit about like, oh, I didn't know that this was in this gen,
You didn't know Cowboy Caterpie.
I did not know Cowboy Caterpie. That one's new. So that's been fun. I've been keeping up with it. I like how there's a Pokedex in that, and also you have a uniqueness rating. So like I'm balancing like unlocking new Pokemon while keeping my uniqueness down. So I have to like strategize. It's like, well, everyone's gonna think of Squirtle, so I have to find the right day to do Squirtle to where it's not gonna tank my score too badly. So like. I have like a little meta game, and I've also caught some shinies in there.
The uniqueness score is what really makes it a game to me. Because like, that's the thing. Like, almost anybody can figure out one answer, right? But like, what's the best answer? Because I think they specify in the rules that for any given space, there is at least 2 Pokemon you could put there.
Yeah. And I so far from out of experience, that is the case. I've even done some of like the randomized puzzles, and they keep true to that there as well. But a game that I've been playing, and this just kind of sprung out of nowhere. Have you ever played Pokemon Picross?
No. You know, that's the puzzle one. I haven't played it, right?
No. Okay. Do you know what?
Puzzle?
Yes, it is. Do you know what Picross is?
I know Nintendo's made a few Picross things, like, even outside of Pokemon, but I don't know how it's played.
Alright, I'm gonna get a little experimental here, and this might be a part of the podcast that I have to, like, maybe record. I'm sharing 2 pictures of a Picross game that I booted up here.
Let's see.
And I would like to explain the concept of Picross to you.
Oh, I know what this is.
Okay. One, this is a 3DS game. The 3DS doesn't exist anymore. This is a free-to-play game with gems and stuff. You might notice I have infinite gems, and, you know, I may have controlled some things to not have to deal with the free-to-play bullshit of the game, so I'm just playing it normally. The way Picross works is, for every row and column, it tells you how many you have to fill in that row. But if it goes like, for example, in the first picture I shared here, one of the columns has 211. It's the second column. That means that it's going to be a pattern of 2 will be filled, and then there's a minimum of 1 gap, and then 1 will be filled, and then there's a minimum of 1 gap, and then another 1 will be filled. So using that rule of like if there's multiple numbers in one line, you know that there's a gap between them. You have to kind of like reverse engineer the solution. So, for example, if you were looking at this puzzle, your first big hint is that there's a 9 in the left side there. That means that no matter what, in a 10-row column, you know that the middle 8 are going to be filled in, and then the last one of the 9 is going to be either the left or right. And then you start building it from there. You're like, okay, well, I see that if I fill in the 9 there, one of the rows might only have a 1. And because 1 has to have a gap in between it, you can put like a little X mark between each one that you filled because you know there has to be a gap. So you just keep doing that over and over and over until you solve the puzzle. And then the second picture I posted is like that puzzle that is halfway through solved, except that I did not do the picture right. So it would look like this. And you like basically
that's a Pokemon.
It's Whimsicott in the most pixely way possible, and you have the Pokemon you bring into battle with you have little effects to help you out, but you should be able to solve these puzzles a lot of the times just by being really smart. Of like, and another example in the rightmost row there, it's a 1 and a 6. So no matter how you orient that 1 and the 6, you know that certain ones of those like tiles will have to be filled out. Specifically, 1, 2, 3, 4. The 5th and 6th tile, no matter what orientation you do with that, will have to be filled out, and maybe even the 7th. So you basically just like look at all these little hints, fill out what has to be a spot and what has to be an X, and like reverse engineer the puzzle. So it's a fun puzzle game with a Pokemon twist. Again, they always cook with these spin-offs because like the little Pokemon abilities are really fun. I really wish one of these was on the Switch. I know the Switch has like Picross games, and I might look into that. But the fact that I'm making little Pokemon sprites, I think, is really cute as well, and I'm bringing little Pokemon to the battles with me. So.
I was about to say, I knew they had Picross games on the Switch, but I feel like if you're playing Picross at all, you want the theme of it to be something that's going to keep you playing it.
It's like a Puyo Puyo, where like you could do a Puyo Puyo thing with anything, but it has to have that aesthetic that like you enjoy.
I just want good colors and sounds.
That's all I need. Calculated. Okay, so that wraps up. I don't think Tyler is back still, even though I think his mic is bleeding.
What do we have that's hot on this list, though?
Next up, we have Invincible Season 1 and 2. Or we could do 2 Point Museum, actually. Let's do that first, Joe.
Okay, I will do that. Alright, so, like, I have been on a quest, a journey. A discovery of like finding like a management game for a long time because of the movies. I've been like filling that void in my heart and soul.
I remember you talking about this.
Yeah, and so the 2 Point series has been like a very solid series. Like 2 Point Hospital came out, it was real good. 2 Point Campus, I believe it was called, was also kind of cool. I had to like revisit it again and like to really appreciate what they're going for. For 2 Point Museum, they fucking cooked, like, real good. Like it's the best game they've made.
Wow,
like, it's so good.
Above the movies?
No. But it's close. It's closer than anything has been before.
Sorry, this isn't the same studio that does the movies then?
No, the studio that did the movies has been closed down.
Yeah, I remember that.
And as a weird tangent, if y'all remember in like our game of the year, I mentioned there was this like spiritual successor that I would play, and I was really disappointed in. The developers just said that they're no longer going to be working on the project and that it's over.
Damn.
Yeah. So it's like, all right, I will continue to not have the thing that I want, but anyway.
Fuck.
But anyways, 2 Point Museum. So you are essentially like a curator of a museum, and you have to like make this museum in terms of like educational and profitable. So you have to like design the layout of your museum and the flow of your museum in a way that like will make your guests go like, "Ooh, what's that? What's that? What's that?" So like you get fossils and you put them in displays, and you put like little knowledge cards next to them, and then they can go read them. And like what's also cool is that like your scientists or archaeologists that you hire that will help make sure the museum is like kept up. They're also like little Indiana Jones dudes, and you send them out on missions to go get more relics to bring back to your museum. And what makes this really fun is that it's not just like little dinosaur bones and stuff like that. It's also just kind of like wacky, fun stuff. Like eventually, I found a location that has a bunch of Ice Age relics. So
Cute.
I'm bringing stuff like a centipede frozen, or like a tree that's frozen, or a beehive that's frozen, or a man that's frozen in ice. The thing is like all those things are frozen. You have to keep them in a cool environment, and if that breaks and doesn't get repaired fixed enough, they all thaw out and shenanigans ensues. So like you'll have like a centipede monster running around the museum, or you'll have Pickle from Baki running around the museum.
What?
Like,
But not actually. But yes.
but yeah, and like at the same time, you have people, these thieves that come and try to steal your like artifacts or your like fossils and stuff. So they'll come in and try to like sneak out with it. So you have to like set up security cameras, a security team, make sure it's all covered. They'll try to steal from the donation box like a bunch of hoodlums. And it's all the mechanisms in place are just so engaging. I haven't like gone through the whole campaign, but like every time it's just the sync. Like the brain cart's working, like you're just moving things and getting things organized, and you're like setting up like, all right, I need to set up a tour guide route. Here are the pieces we're gonna hit. This is the route that goes. Here's how the flow is gonna go, but I need to also make sure it doesn't interrupt like natural guest flow. So I have to make sure that I am building around that tour as well. And making sure I'm still within theme. There's also just a bunch of different fun themes. Like I mentioned, like the fossils and the Ice Age stuff before, but there's also like a ghost theme section of the museum where you can get like ghosts that you have like from the Haunted Mansion in their own little rooms, and they can break out and like haunt your guests and possess them. Or
just straight up.
Yeah, or like you find the Yeti, and now you have to keep the Yeti like in its own exhibit and keep it cool and make sure it doesn't like get out and start harassing people. There's like, I haven't gotten this far yet, but apparently you can get like sea monsters like the Kraken, have that in your museum. You have to keep that satisfied.
That's sick.
Yeah, and like it's all got this like dry British charm to it as well, with this like Wallace and Gromit like aesthetic. It's just tons of fun. And I've been playing on my Steam Deck. It's been a great Steam Deck game, just to kind of like boot up and like do a little bit of it, and then like set it back down. The current one I'm on right now is like Ancient Aliens, like from the History Channel. So you're finding these alien artifacts and trying to figure out how they work, and like they turn on depending on like where they're positioned next to other exhibits within your museum. So like they're like basically battery packs or like chain reaction things that can happen within the museum, which has been a lot of fun. But also just like pure chaos, because you're like these puzzle pieces that are like scattered across your museum floor. You're constantly moving them around, and you still have to make a profit when you're trying to figure out the puzzle to get these things to activate.
We established earlier that you love shenanigans, and this seems like a shenanigan-heavy game.
Oh yeah, that is like the thing about like I think that like a lot of management games like miss out on, is that like I want to be disrupted in my game plan, and I don't think that happens a lot. I think a lot of people like focus now on like, we need to give the players the ability to make sure they execute their plan flawlessly every time with very little pushback.
To be fair, I bet that's a majority of what a majority of players want. They want to like find the optimal path and just spam it. Like that, I would assume.
The thing is that like that is true, but like that optimal path, it's kind of like the optimal path doesn't feel nearly as good if there isn't something to overcome.
Yeah.
And I think that's like a big balancing point of like, yes, we need to make that possible for the players, but it also needs to give the illusion of like you have come to this like decision yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's just like normal game design. It's like the pushback has to be enough that you feel accomplished when you get over it. And I think 2 Point Museum does a great job. They also have these challenges. Like there's one challenge where it's like this museum has a security problem, so you're not allowed to like, and you have to like just beef up the security. So you're only allowed to build security based items, and you have to like watch the museum for like 20-30 minutes, and just you can't get any more exhibits. You have to make sure like you have some exhibits left over by the end of your shift, which is really fun. So I think they have some really cool scenarios like that. But yeah, it's super good. Like I highly recommend if you're just looking for a management game and got that itch. It's like, I think it's really, really good. I think the other two games are really solid, but this one, like they really hit their stride. Like, all right, we know what we need to do now, and I am actually kind of blown away because like it's a theme that like I think a lot of people were like at first like, that's kind of weird. How is that going to work? And turns out, awesome, fantastic.
So we need more 2 Point games, like 2 Point Game Studio.
Yeah, well, this is the third one, so maybe they always do a little hint, and like, I think 2 Point festival might be next, where you do like music festivals or Renaissance festivals type of things.
Okay.
Because there was a lot of
It's
festivals.
pretty different. Okay, I see.
Yeah.
So you would do everything. I feel like just music festival by itself could be a whole ass game.
Yeah, so like basically though, like not after you beat the game, but there's also a sandbox mode where you get to make your own like festival or like in this game like museum, so you can customize it how you want it to be, and you have your own challenges as well, which I think is really cool.
Nice.
But yeah, 2 Point Hospital, highly recommend.
Cool. Not to us. Because those games are, they make my brain hurty. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Invincible Season 2 and 3, which Joe and I have now finished.
Yes.
Now, Joe, did you watch 3 this month, or you watched last one? Okay, yeah, and you were like, oh, it's just a good time in general. Cool. Yeah. Well, I did both 2 and 3 this month, so I guess we can chat about some of the stuff that you may not have brought up.
Is he invincible?
So far, I mean, he hasn't died yet. I'll spoil that much.
Yeah.
And also off paper, I don't think he's died yet. He just gets his ass kicked a lot.
A lot.
But he does some ass kicking here and there.
Yeah. But Willard, what did you think of seasons 2 and 3? I think I watched season 2 when it was coming out last year. I mentioned that I enjoyed it.
So with season 2, pretty quickly I was reminded that this show is like a lot goofier than you remember.
Yeah.
In the sense that like, I think this show is one of the arguments that you should not use the word generic or tropey as inherently negative. Because I would very much say that Invincible is generic and tropey, and it's just really good at being that. You know, like...
Yeah.
It is a superhero story with all the trappings, but it knows when to lock the fuck in and make the journey worth it. And I think that is the reason why you should watch Invincible in general. If you like any superhero story, I think this is one that's going to feel very familiar, but go the distance in ways that you don't expect it to do. But then you have, like, Mark, you have to come to Atlantis to marry the Fish Queen. She's like, we don't want to marry you. We're just trying to, like, kill you with this giant monster. It's very fun. You got the dual identity dating the normal person storyline. Can I say, Amber is the most improved player of season 2. She is just like, they took the feedback to heart very seriously with that character. Because everyone hated her in season 1, and now she's just chill as fuck and super understanding, and like, she has every right to be upset with him. They just changed her dialogue and temperament to be less grating in the times where she might disagree with Mark, which makes her a much better character, I think, in general. So I really like her this season. When I think if you went back to like our season 1 discussion, I wouldn't be surprised if I was like, yeah, Amber was like one of the worst parts of season 1, which I think is like a common take. And then this season hits multiverse stuff a lot earlier than I thought a superhero story would get into. In general, I think superhero multiverse stories are kind of fucking lame. Like,
been there, done that.
Not only been there, done that, like, they just always take the scope of the world and expand it in a way that's not interesting. They expand it so far out where it's like none of this matters. Like, it's so easy to like lose the scope of the story when you expand out into multiverse stuff.
I only really like it when the multiverse exists. Like, whenever the multiverse is introduced just as a way to up the stakes, I don't find it very exciting.
Yeah.
I like it better when the multiverse exists to do something personal for our character. Like, Into the Spider-Verse, even though at that point I feel like we had a million multiverse superhero things, I actually liked it there because the whole point of this multiverse of Spider-Man and Spider-Women is to introduce this self-doubt into him that he gained at the end of the first movie, where he's like, oh my god, I am Spider-Man. And now it's I was never meant to be Spider-Man, and in fact, they don't want me to be one.
And in fact, being Spider-Man comes with all this baggage and all that. So like, it definitely works in Spider-Verse. I think it works in Worm really well. Particularly when you think about the journey of was it Aleph, the other planet, and the Travelers?
Yeah.
All that storyline, how like it's cool that it's like it's mostly relevant to side characters and like part of the world building of like one of the main antagonists near the end, you know, like but aside from that, I don't think it interrupts the story that often unless I'm forgetting like I know that there's Slaughterhouse 9000, but that was clones, right?
Yeah, I'm just like, if you're introducing the multiverse just to be like, the stakes are the same stakes, just multiplied by 1,000, I'm like, okay, whatever, dude.
I feel like they kind of do that in Invincible, unfortunately. Like, I don't really care for the multiverse stuff here, and in fact, it's like, because they don't flesh out, like, basically, every other version of Mark you see is a total asshole, so it's like, is the story that our Mark is special, or that Marks in general have like a 99% hit rate of being dickbags, and then we're not going to explore how they differ from our Mark. We're just going to show that they're evil, and then in Season 3, we're going to touch back on that. And like, an episode that I think was more exciting for other people than it was for me, that episode 3 was just like, yeah, I guess this is happening. I was kind of checked out of that particular encounter. I do like the villain, though, Joe, that facilitates the multiverse plotline. It is one of those scenarios, and I'm predicting Versus Wolves podcast is going to be watching that this month. Wooly will say the same thing. It's one of those scenarios where if people just fucking talked, we wouldn't have a conflict, but the story was made such that, like, we're going to deliberately not have them even try to talk things out so that this conflict can escalate past the point where it matters. And I don't know. It felt really, like... It felt very avoidable for that to happen, for them to hate each other as much as they do, but now they do. But I do like that antagonist in general.
So, as a quick roundabout, or I guess...
Cast.
Yeah.
Roll credits.
Devil's advocate. I kind of like what the multiverse is setting up. I don't think it's like fully paid off yet at this point. I think the multiverse is really, it's there to really challenge Mark and kind of like as a conflict with, it's like it's a external expression of Mark's internal conflict, I think, in terms of who he is. And I kind of like that as like a visual representation, because it's like these are all the different ways that like you could have fucked up, and these are all the potential ways you still could potentially fuck up. And I think that's just something that like Mark has to build on and reflect on, and that's good. Like, I think if it was a slower burn than I think a lot of people are imagining it to be, in terms of Mark's character.
I guess maybe, I don't know.
But like, to me, it's just like, I'm not saying like it's the greatest thing ever, but
no,
I think
it's really good.
Yeah,
I have a lot of qualms here and there though.
I just think it's like, I think with the multiversal stuff, like, I think there's a lot more thought into it than I think like you're giving it credit for. But
where did you find that substance there? Because we just flashed to a bunch of evil Marks, and we get no context to where they diverged and why our Mark is different. And
but like,
the only vibe I get is that like, oh, we actually like the way it's building up. It's like, well, our Mark is going to be facing trials that are darkening him as a person, and he might actually be closer to them than we think. Mm-hmm. And it's like, well, that's also not a very like, I don't know. I'm not like super into that concept either. So
right.
I don't know. I
think part of it is the variance of how all of them look in terms of like the costuming and how they all.
The costuming is sick. Like that. Yeah. Their designs are 10 out of 10.
Like you have a Mark that doesn't have goggles. You have a Mark that's in like Omni-Man suit. You have a Mark that's like completely like burned off and like skinned and everything.
Yeah.
So like, I think to me that represents enough of like they each of these have suffered a different diverging path to get to where they are, but are essentially the same.
But they're not the same as our mark in any way.
Correct.
But also, but because we don't see not even one other normal good mark,
but
it devalues the whole thing for me. It's just so black and white as a concept, I feel.
But you also have to think about the context of like what that villain is doing. The villain isn't
in season 3, yes. In season 3, yes, but in season 1, like what we're just kind of flashing to different season 2, while we're flashing to different multiverses, we could have had him engage with even like another normalish mark and maybe reject that, or like I don't know, build on the idea in some way where it's just not like he is vindicated in his goals.
I think that's going to be a later reveal that will happen in this series of
maybe.
But like I think, but the point is that villain is essentially like Mark is getting bombarded with like externally these thoughts of like you are potentially a threat, and then seeing like this is the outcome of that threat and it's entirely possible. In fact, 100 out of 100 times it is possible apparently, and he's kind of getting that thrown at him.
Yeah.
And I think like that's kind of the point, is like he's being showed things forcibly of how he thinks he should react.
But you're projecting the character arc there, so you might be right. We might build on this, but as it is right now, it's just action figures showing up and beating up our heroes.
Maybe, but like to me, like that's what the setup of the story is going to be. I might be completely wrong, which is completely fair, but like to me, I just feel like it's more seed planting than it is like letting on to be.
I mean, we've touched on the concept 2 seasons back to back now, and I just don't feel like, I don't know. It's a slow burn, like you said. We'll see how it goes. But because of that, I was not engaged in the combat that was happening either necessarily. So I don't know. But other season 2 things, I don't know. Nothing super notable. Did you watch the Adam Eve?
No,
special?
I just haven't had time. Like in the 24 hours you asked me if I did.
Well, I mean, I wasn't sure if you did beforehand. That's probably the best episode of the series, or up there. The animation on it is so fucking cool. And also like it just gives some interesting context to Eve and stuff that I'm glad I watched it right before the stretch of episodes of season 3 that I was about to get into, because like
if I'm thinking of the thing that you're talking of, like what you're about to do, I'm like, that kind of feels like a bit of an ass pull, but all right.
Yeah, they do build up to it in that special, so I recommend going back and seeing it. If you like Eve as a character, she's even more interesting. They even mentioned some stuff, like her mom brings up some stuff from like characters in that flashback that I thought were really interesting. Alan and Omni-Man stuff in season 2 was really good too, but especially in season 3.
Yeah.
Obviously, Omni-Man, one of the best characters of the show. It goes without saying. I'll bring up also as a blanket statement, the voice performances in the show are really good. It's a bunch of notable actors, but they're not doing like the stilted voice acting thing that I feel like live actors can do. There's some stilted voice reads, but in general, like particularly Eve and what's her name? Gillian Jacobs, aka Britta from Community. She kills it as Eve. And then of course Omni-Man and J.K. Simmons.
Yes.
Okay. He's really good. And then Walter Goggins as Cecil. Like, I did not expect he would have that much of like an acting range as far as voice acting goes.
That guy is like, him and J.K. Simmons are like just strict professionals. Like, whatever they do, they're just entirely grateful that they get the part and they get the act, and I feel like they put a lot into it.
And I'll say Steven Yeun got to show a lot more range with voicing the alternate marks as well. So like you got to see like a lot of him from there. Yeah. And then we get to season 3.
Ooh.
So like I'm trying to figure out what the best season of this show is. I think there's a good argument that it's this one, but I think it also has the biggest lows. and the highest highs of a season.
I feel the same way. I think.
Mm-hmm.
I take that back. I think my least favorite episode of the series is the Atlantis episode.
Season 2, yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. But I think on an average level, I would say season 2 has much higher highs, or like more consistently higher highs. But like I think season 3 also has like some.
Season 3 probably has the highest highs. Yeah. I mean, there's the season 1 finale, but I'll throw in that the low is season 3 is actually because it's a core plot line. I don't think the conflict between Mark and Cecil was earned and made sense at the time of the story. He turned on a dime so fucking fast, I felt.
I also feel that way a little bit. I think watching it week to week, I was expecting a lot more of a payoff later. I think, though, also it's kind of a hypocritical thing from Mark because he's saying, like, he is also at odds where his father is currently.
Yeah, no, like, part of it is, like, by episode 2, I'm like, Mark is just objectively wrong.
Right.
So, like, and, like, but then also, like, it just happened, like, the way it happened was so fast. Like, oh, you're working with villains? Well, fuck you, Cecil. I'm gonna show up to the Pentagon and kill a bunch of robots? Like, whoa!
Yeah. No, I agree. But, like, I think that's also really cool that, like, we are witnessing our protagonist being very, very wrong. Like, it's just, like, obviously wrong. And he's kind of struggling with that mentality. So I think that's just a cool character arc to do. I think it can also go wrong in a lot of other shows.
I like when a character is wrong, if they internalize the small ways that they're right. Like, just ever so slightly, like, I see why you're right, and, like, 3% of you is right. Even if they're, like, super wrong. I just think Mark is just, like, being weirdly unreasonable all of a sudden, just to, like, give us an excuse to break up the Guardians and whatnot.
Yeah. So I think there's... Yeah. Go ahead, Tyler.
There's a good dynamic about it all. As you go through season 3, and this is kind of a good build-up for it all. So, like, it's kind of that pivotal moment that is really good where Omni-Man goes, I think I miss my wife.
Oh, peak.
We start to see, like, that point starts to reverse Mark and Omni-Man's, like, current perceptions of the world. And that's, like, what leads to the negative colored Mark suit once he leaves.
Oh, man.
The Force, you know?
Yeah, he gets in the show. He gets a little bit earlier, but you're right. Like that's a cool way to signify that.
As we see Mark start to become more and more wrong because he's unable to accept the concept of not only his little brother and his dad becoming right. Like, he's mad that those things happened. And he's frustrated that they happen, and he doesn't want to accept them. So, like, it's unfortunate that this is a week-to-week moment, because I got to binge this, but it's really cool to see how, like, you got to sit there and wait for the payoff of, like, where you get both of these heroes figuring out how to be right.
That's okay. I really like that. That's And when you lay it out like that, I totally see the seeds. I also, I binged this season, but I think you might be thinking of stuff that might be coming in later seasons, so you can look at the character arc more objectively. Yeah. I'm just telling you how it felt as, like, a right now situation, not knowing where the future is going. Like, the seeds are being planted pretty quickly and, like, haphazardly, and I see, like, they might cook later, but for now I'm, like, a little iffy on some of the plot points, but particularly Mark and Cecil.
The entire story is, like, the anti-Mark set up a good foundation of what could have been, and they really let Mark, like, they are, okay, first of all, yes, they are action figures, they are a gimmick. This is totally a side plot, do not focus on it.
Cool.
The thing that, the multiverse, not. Anti-Marks, yes.
Okay.
But what it's doing is it's showing Mark how many times he's been wrong.
Ooh.
And it's a foreshadowing for how wrong he often is. And it's like, imagine knowing you're going to be wrong no matter what you do, and even you trying to do what you believe is the right thing is still going to be the wrong answer.
That's really good. It's really good. You're turning me on it a little bit. I like it. We'll we'll have to see how it goes. And the way the season ends, he's like making a declaration to Oliver, and I'm like, okay, we might be swinging a little bit too far on the other way. Let's see where this goes. Now that is the negative of season 3, is that plot line, right? A high positive of season 3 is Powerplex. That little episode plus Aaron Paul cooking, like that shit, like it ended really predictably, but again, I don't think Tyler was here when I stated this at the start of the Invincible segment. I think like generic is not necessarily a bad word. Like that was a really good, if predictable, storyline that was like played out really well. Like all the characters, like I was feeling for them. It made sense. The conflict felt good. Powerplex was a dumbass.
The wife character in particular is really good.
She's deceptively interesting.
I can't believe they turned Powerplex into a plot line.
Is he not that... Okay, did you say you haven't seen this season?
Correct.
Please watch this season, because he was, like, low-key one of the best characters in the show now. Like,
Powerplex is, like... what is it called when a new...
Villain of the Week?
Edition... Yeah, he is definitely a villain of the week.
They do a whole episode dedicated to him, and then use him the next 2 episodes really well.
That's insane.
Yeah. I feel like they'll rework him and be more interesting. Also, Aaron Paul, so it's like that's a plus.
He can't keep getting away with it.
It's literally that.
Apparently, he was in more than just one chapter, but like it says his debut was in 59, and then his final was in 105, and it's like I don't know how many chapters there are of.
You gotta remember, Tyler didn't remember Amber was a character in the comics, so the some characters.
Okay. That is yes, but there's.
Oh yeah.
But they also like completely changed that character design.
Yes,
no. I'll give it a shit.
They're 2 completely, not just designs, but everything.
Oh really?
2 completely different characters.
But yeah, Powerplex.
So that's why I'm like. I hope they don't treat this Amber the same way they treated that Amber.
No, I was saying she's like the most improved character between season 1 and 2. Like, they took that feedback to heart and made her really good now. I quite like her.
There's some plot points that happened to Amber.
Oh, Jesus.
And I'm like, are they still going to follow through with those? I don't think this is going to get as dark as the comics get, to be honest. I don't know if Amazon's going to let them do that thing that they have to do next season. Yeah.
How fun. I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
And then we get to the finale, Conquest. I mean, on an action level, it's the... Well, I don't know. The Adam Eve special, it's still better action than this. Like, the Adam Eve special goes so fucking hard on the animation. Which, by the way, people rag on the animation of the show. It looks fine to good. Like, there's nothing really to complain about. People, I think Joe said it best. They want a Mappa slave animation. I'm like, I'm good. There's no need to kill these guys over this. Conquest is like just like a pretty, again, I'm gonna use the word generic, but then he leans in and whispers some shit into Mark's ears and has like a little monologue. And I'm like, oh, your character just got so elevated from like these couple of lines that you just said.
And no one will ever believe you.
And you'll take it to the grave. Like, that was really good. How y'all feel about Oliver?
There was a segment during that Conquest fight where I was not feeling good.
Dude, that's at the very start of the fight. Oliver is flying towards Conquest, and he's got his back to him, and he just turns around and decks him in the face, and the camera goes upside down. Shit was sick. And then other things happened that I was not comfortable with. Hands off him. I really want to like Oliver, but like, I'm just so uneasy. He's gonna let me down most out of any character in this show, and that's just like a fact. So I'm scared to get invested with him, because otherwise I think he's like really sweet, and like I like his concept as a character, like a little brother to Mark. I just his future trajectory is not bright. IMO. I would love to be proven wrong though.
Yeah, I'm not putting a lot of stocks into our little purple friend.
Let me spoil this for y'all.
No.
Oliver's one of the worst characters in this series.
Really? Oh fuck.
Oh,
well,
like F tier.
Oh.
Always? Like even from the start? Because maybe the show's doing him better.
I hate Oliver. This is like Duplicate has a better plot than Oliver.
Oh, Duplicate's peak. She's really good actually. I like her.
Okay.
You know,
the canon guy. You know Adam Eve's siblings that showed up, Willer, and what happened to them?
Yeah.
Better plot than all of Oliver.
Okay, well. We'll let him cook. Robert Kirkman is fixing things, right?
Sure, whatever.
Yeah, I'll give it some faith. But yeah, the Conquest stuff was really cool. And like, man, that's a lot of things that happen in 3 episodes.
Yeah.
I don't know how we pick up from here. That's just one Viltrumite. If they send like 3 dudes, it's over. Like, maybe we can handle 2 dudes. Now, granted, I like how Conquest was like, I'm such a freak that even my other Viltrumites think I'm too much, so that was a cool power scaling. So next time if they send 2 or 3, it's like, well, you know, Conquest is 1.5 of 1 Viltrumite, so yeah, you could do some stuff. But then Nolan's
what did
gonna
y'all
show
think
up.
about Battle Beast showing back up?
Whatever, man. I don't care about that guy.
That guy's the fucking Mihawk of the series.
No, because I like
building and says fuck that.
I don't really see the world that he's building. He's just a guy that shows up and fucks everybody up, and then goes away for a couple episodes. And I'm like, I don't know who you are, where you came from, why I should care. Like, he's literally raw aura incarnate, which means that all the shonen bros probably love him.
Oh yeah, man!
Yeah,
all the Zoro Kings.
All these. Yeah, exactly.
Battle Beast just shows up and fucks thing up. He has no standing of morality.
Battle Beast is a fucking Jujutsu Kaisen character, so I don't even know, but with a simple power set, which is murder things. But yeah,
domain expansion murder ball.
Yeah, he just curls up into a ball and floats in space or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, like, so season 3 did have like 2 plot lines that I didn't like too much, but then the rest of it is probably the best. So I think it's probably my favorite season, with the caveat that it's like got some things. I'm sure that those things will be less of a problem as the show goes on. I'm sure. And yeah, like I still give Invincible like a solid 4 out of 5. I think it's really good. I think it does adult cartoon better than Arcane, because I think Arcane takes itself so fucking seriously. It is artsy cartoon for artsy teenagers.
I am watching Arcane season 2 right now, and every time they start a music video in the middle of the episode, I skip past it.
Like, the thing about like everything but the super violent scenes, which happens like pretty often, you take all that aside from Invincible, and it is literally a show for people of all ages, including kids. Like, and adults. Like, it's the way it tackles everything it does, I think, is really nice and balanced and consistent and good. And then the only reason why I wouldn't recommend it to little kids is because you will see people's guts flying everywhere. But aside from that, like, I think it's like a really good adult cartoon, and like I'm really proud that it's popular. Like, this is a rare win for audiences where we paid attention to a good thing that doesn't always happen.
Yeah.
So that makes me pretty happy.
Yeah, there's some more stuff I want to talk about, but like I think we should move on because I have to go to bed at one point. But
No.
there might be something.
No, you don't.
Okay.
Gun to your head.
Okay.
What do you have to say? One thing.
One thing is Rexplode.
Yeah, Rexplode was good this season.
Yep.
Um,
I hope Rex does some interesting stuff next season.
yeah, me too. I'm curious to see how he'll handle his new changes and powers and stuff. They try to make Rex so sexy this season. They were like putting their all into making Jason Mazzucca's as the Tumblr's or whatever as the Tumblr sexy man with the man bun and the big abs. I saw what they were doing. They're trying to get the Rex
I
shippers.
think they succeeded.
Yeah,
I like Rex.
Probably no. Rex has been good. Like he's been on a good trajectory. I like this thing with Shrink Ray. Imagine if you had a power that you could make a pun out of with your name in this world. It'd be really hard. Oh my god, I can't get over how much I love Multicate and Multiple. It's so good.
Yeah.
Anyways, okay, Tyler, you have an anime block. This is intimidating for all people.
It shouldn't be. This is gonna. It's just a small little segment of things.
Quick adventure.
Yeah. So Solo Leveling season 2 ended. Solo Leveling is like if Battle Beast was an anime. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It looks good, sounds good. If anybody is there for a plot, they're actually gaslighting you. There isn't one, and it's like I've talked about this on the podcast multiple times, actually.
Yeah.
There's even less plot in the anime than there is in the
light novels.
Yeah, like the thing that kept me going was like the system and the way that the like power system worked in the world, and like him leveling up. They just gloss over like 90% of that in the anime. They're just like, here's this thing that's moving too fast for you to read, but if you want to go back and pause it and see the small secret, you can. Otherwise, yeah, he's stronger now. He can just do that.
That's such a bummer because, like, from what I understood, this was a progression fantasy where, like, seeing the progress of getting there was the fun. So
it is, but they don't explain any of the progress or talk about it at all. They're just like, oh, he's stronger now. Like, it's so... Like, it's fine. Obviously, people are gonna jerk off to it, but it's like, you know... whatever. Yeah.
They got Aura,
I love it when Tyler is the contrarian in the anime view community, and I agree with him.
Yeah, I know. I hate. It sucks to be right, you know.
Yeah, I know, right?
When Tyler agrees with me, it's pretty peak.
Yep.
Then we're gonna talk about probably the best anime that's going on right now is Shangri-La Frontier. This is not an isekai, despite being categorized as one. I don't think anime watchers even understand their own genre.
No, of course not.
Yeah, who would think?
Yeah.
Solo Leveling is actually more of an isekai than fucking Shangri-La Frontier, which is wholly ironic. But Shangri-La Frontier Season 2's happened. Shangri-La Frontier also is very well animated. I will say the episodes are probably a little bit shorter. They're actually probably the same length as Solo Leveling. But here's the thing. In the same time as Solo Leveling has gone on, actually, let me, that started in November. I'm doing a quick audit. Hold up. We're researching, we're judging. Okay, no, never mind.
Damn.
So Solo Leveling started in January of 2024. So these animes are started 2 months apart. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
These probably have pretty similar like levels of good animation per like their average amount of episodes. Solo Leveling has 25 episodes in 2 seasons. Shangri-La Frontier has double that at like 53 episodes while maintaining a much more engaging plot, cast of characters, and fucking just about everything. And they do it in a like kind of smart way where like our main character who's on screen most of the time has to wear a fucking bird mask so they never have to animate his mouth. And then they use it on different things. It's funny. It has more engaging fights for me personally because like they can be like 3 to 4 episodes long and new things are happening each episode and new characters are getting highlights. It's overall just a good time. Like it's a very light-hearted anime. There's not a lot of seriousness into it. And I think that's nice. It's just about some guys who like fucking video games, man. That's what it is. They just like video games. They're playing video games in real life. They're competing at the current arc is the fighting game tournament arc where they're in a VR game and they're like, yo, guess what? They're debuting a new fighting game that hasn't been released yet. So like they've had like beta gameplay experience of it and that's about it. And it's like the best team in the world versus like just a Japan's very good team, and that's one of our main characters. So he invites our actual main character to come participate because 2 other people got sick, and he's like, "You're good at games. You come in and play." And it's like they're absolutely not taking it seriously at all, and they're about to troll like the fucking best US team in the world while also trying to win, and it's gonna be great. Let's see. Is it wrong to try and pick up Girls in a Dungeon Season 5? Yo, I've been watching this anime for a decade. Y'all know that?
I was gonna say it's been going on for a while now.
Fucking decade.
I get this confused with Devil's a part-timer for you. Those are different things.
Yeah, but that's 2 seasons in a decade.
I get this confused with Solo Leveling.
Jeez. Now, Solo Leveling has the hot Korean guy who has raw aura, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
This is like, I didn't know Sword Oratoria was the spinoff. I hear a lot about that. But it's been going on a long time. This is like if they made Percy Jackson an anime, I think.
Okay, that's appealing.
Yeah, like, I mean, our main character has a small harem, very tiny. They just like him a lot. He only likes one girl. He doesn't touch any of the others. They're just like, this guy's very charismatic because he wants to be a hero.
Small harem, very tiny.
But it is a lot about, like, Greek gods and politics and mythology. They get a little bit into that each year. But it's cool, like, midway through the 3rd season, we start to introduce some, like, Japanese-based inspired Greek gods. Like, they're like, what if this Greek god was actually, like, this lore and mythology? And, like, they introduce, like, a nine-tails fox while they're fighting, or, like, hiding from Hermes, and, like, there's cool stuff. There's, like, the plot. The world building is cool. The way that they do the fights are interesting. The concept of the dungeon is fascinating. It's a chill time. I recommended this to one of our friends, and she had to stop watching it because apparently it got too stressful. Which I was like, dude, season 4 is like peak stress. Like, they open like there is a old Greek folk tale about a soothsayer or like a future seer, and she always sees the future. And it's gonna happen, but like she can't do anything about it. Like she has to tell like she can't ever describe it accurately. She's just like, we're gonna die, you know. And like the other, I don't remember this character's name, but she's in like lore and folk tales and stuff. But like that is pretty much all of season 4, and it's intense. It was a good run. Very stressful. Our main character gets so fucking beat up, they actually chop off his arm in one of the episodes. Like, he's getting his ass beat, and they're like, yeah, like, main character loses a fucking arm.
Like, permanently? Or do they have, like, abilities?
Dude, it's off. It's gone.
No way.
Yeah.
It's coming back next season. Trust.
Sure. You said that last season, Willer.
Did I? I didn't know I didn't know I had takes. I probably did.
You did.
I'm sorry, I was wrong.
Yeah, it's been good, but all those wrapped up. I'm like out of anime to watch right now. I actually have been teasing a few. I've been watching Arcane season 2 slowly. I'm doing a
the misery.
rewatch. I'm doing a rewatch of Death Note.
Oh, nice.
I'm also watching Devilman Crybaby for the first time.
How far are you in that?
I am on episode 5 or 6. This show is animated. This thing is a wild ride of animation because it's done by Science Saru, same people who did Dan.
They did.
Program Takes Off.
Well, the same people that do Dan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. I did not know that. That makes a lot of sense. They have a really good style.
Yeah, they kick ass. They do some wild shit. I like their style. But this show is crazy. I think this, if I recommended this to anybody, this is a Bradley show.
How to pick up girls in a dungeon?
No, Devilman Crybaby.
Okay, I wasn't sure if we were still talking about that.
No. Devilman Crybaby.
I do not like Devilman Crybaby.
Have you seen it, Willard?
Yeah, years ago.
Oh. I don't hate the plot so far. It's very cheesy.
It's about to fucking go places, brother.
Good. I want it to go places.
Yeah, you might end up liking this then.
There's 2 more, and I actually have a few anime on my watch list, but nothing that's like coming out week to week super bad, or like super terribly like urgently. Fire Force season 3 just started, which is interesting because like it started this week, and it's been 5 years since season 2. Yeah, so it's been an experience. Like season 1 came out in 2019, pandemic happened, and then they lost 5 years to Fire Force. I think it was kind of in this limbo like Black Clover's in. Like I think Black Clover's just I don't think they're gonna finish it. I think they're just like, oh oops, like this is dead now.
That'd be a bummer.
It would be because they're like 100+ chapters into Black Clover.
Black Clover is like a nearly 300 chapter manga.
Oh, 378.
Yeah, never mind.
And they're just in the final arc, and they're like, yeah, we're not gonna finish it.
The Bleach treatment.
I wonder if there's. Well, they did. They're finishing Bleach right now.
I know.
Yeah.
So maybe they'll do that for Black Clover. I wonder if there's any anime I'd recommend to you since you like watching anime and not reading manga.
I'm gonna watch the Apothecary Diaries.
Yes, that's exactly what I had in mind.
And the Devil May Cry anime that's on Netflix.
Do not watch that.
I'm gonna watch it.
Okay. That shit. Okay. Can I go on a little rant?
Yeah.
That's the guy who does Castlevania.
God, I fucking hate that guy.
Mind you, the guy who does Devil May Cry. Do not watch Devil May Cry.
This is the anime TV series.
Yeah.
Created by
the guy who
Daddy
made
Shanker?
who made Castlevania.
Did he?
Yes.
Anime, yes.
And
the good one.
Sure. So when he made Castlevania Season 1 and everyone was super high on it, he's like, I'm gonna get Berserk before those fuckos can ruin it. And that statement has aged so poorly in my mind. If this guy got his hands on Berserk, I think I would lose my fucking mind. He's already ruined Devil May Cry, so thanks for that. This guy does not understand. I think he's a really bad adapter of media, which is already something I'm very critical about. I really don't like how he adapts things.
The main guy that was on Castlevania was Warren Ellis.
Adi Shankar worked on both projects, if I'm not mistaken.
He did, but the adaptation was created by Warren Ellis, and Addy was one of 6 other executive producers who probably got to talk more than he did. Like he was in a room where he could be outvoted.
Well, he's been he's been playing a lot of Blaze Blue, the fighting game, and posting Blaze Blue stuff. And the Blaze Blue community is like, please, God, no, don't do this. Like, they are freaking out on my timeline, horrified of the day that it's announced that Blaze Blue is about to get an anime made by this guy. Like, he's putting the fear in God of fan bases. That is the level of work he does.
I like how, like, the Netflix adaptations are, like, some of the worst and some of the best.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
It's very, like, Scott Pilgrim, fantastic.
Oh my God, I
Castlevania
love that
1,
shit.
fantastic. Castlevania 2, absolute ass.
Castlevania 1 stopped being good after season 2 for me. I don't know.
Same.
We're just gonna say fuck as much as possible because we're an adult cartoon. We say swear words. Like, again, thank you, Invincible, for being what you are. Anyways, we need to...
Speaking of swear words and
No.
adaptations...
Do we have time for this?
Little side... What are they called?
Tangents.
No.
Pit stops.
Detours.
Pit stops. New pit stop.
I finished... Kelly and I finished watching the live-action One Piece.
I forgot you didn't finish that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 years later, we finally finished it. They were given one cuss word they were allowed to say in that show, and it was shit.
When do they say it?
They say shit every single episode, probably like 7 to 10 times.
Buggy says it at one point. I remember.
Well,
They
Buggy's
say
saying
shit.
Buggy's saying shit is hilarious.
No. Go back and rewatch it.
Shields.
Like, they are not allowed to say any other cuss word other than shit, except for the very last episode where I think Zoro drops an F-bomb.
Yeah, Zoro would say fuck. Zoro would say some bad things on X.
But they only say shit. It's wild. I was like, oh look, there they go cussing again. They're saying shit.
Well, you know, adults only like cuss words is what we're learning.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah.
We have better TV shows to talk about.
do we?
Fuck yeah, we
Yeah.
do.
Oh shit, we do. Severance season 2. It's out. I've watched it all. Bradley's watched it out. Joe's watched it out. Tyler was watching it weekly. Known weekly media enjoyer Tyler Paget.
Oh my God, I'm
Joe
so
was
glad you
watching
guys
it
are
weekly.
finally done, because
Y'all,
after I finished, all I did for the next week and a half was wait for you guys to finish.
I know this is. I wanted to schedule this one as soon as possible so we could like get this out of the way. I have
It's a
so
little
many.
fucked up what y'all did.
What do you mean? It's only been like 2 weeks since it ended. No,
No.
No, it's been
It's
longer.
been like 2 weeks.
it just feels like longer for you because you've been watching all season, Tyler. But me and Joe, it's been like at max 3 weeks. Not even.
Yeah.
Not even.
Oh my God. I don't know where we really start on this, but while we're talking about how long it's been since the season finished,
It's been almost a month.
I need y'all to realize
Damn.
the fandom right now is very different than the fandom for the one or
season
2
one.
days after this season ended.
Ah, interesting.
The first 1 or 2 days after season 2 ended, you had the internet calling for the crucifixion of any mark.
of any mark? That is.
Now, people have. There's been discussion, and people are more reasonable now, and have discovered it's possible to feel empathy for more than one character at a time. So people don't want to crucify any mark anymore. But dude, I saw in those 2 days after this episode came out, I saw so many posts on Reddit that ultimately just boiled down to, I don't get why any Mark doesn't just kill himself to make Outie Mark happy.
Insane. Insane.
Mm-hmm.
I want
Look.
to know what y'all's raw reactions are.
Man. Good season.
Dude.
Good season.
When I finished the season finale, I think one of the first things I had messaged you guys is I was like, we're in a new age of television, because other shows got to step up their cinematography game, dog.
Oh,
like, some of
Dude.
these
They
guys-
can't. They can't reach like like this level is like like this is we're talking like I'm putting this in the pedestal with Better Call Saul as far as cinematography and like shot composition and directing. Like they go way too crazy.
Like, and consistently in terms of like its motifs, like very, as much as they can, they try to make things mirror each other on each side of the screen, but even more so, they try to make them just off a little bit on each side of the screen.
It's ever so slightly askew when, especially
like
when you're in Lumen.
Like there's this scene that sticks out to me in the second episode where like Helena and Millicek and Mr. Drummond are in the conference room, right? And like Drummond is at the far end of the table, and then Helena and Millicek are in the foreground, and like it's just like this off-kilterness of this guy being at the very back and like saying things off, and then like it flips on the other side as well.
They use symmetry and asymmetry really well. I think one of my favorite scenes of the season is Milcek walking in the elevator with Mark, and there's a line dividing them equally, and when they're in the elevator, and Mark and Milcek are like talking shit to each other slightly, and then Milchek's had it, and he steps up and crosses that line and impedes on Mark's side of the screen and gets right up, sexually tense, face to face with Mark. He's like, "How about the fact that you fucked Helena?" And then he walks away. And I was like, "Oh, I love the way that scene like ramped up the tension."
By the way, in general, Milchek, one of my favorite fucking characters on the whole show, especially after season 2.
He's very complex. Him getting that painting and the racial mental gymnastics he was probably trying to do in his mind to be like, yeah, there's nothing weird about this. And then he tries to like have a human moment with what's her name? God.
Miss Wong?
No, not Miss Wong. We'll talk about Miss Wong in a second. Natalie. He tries to have a human moment with Natalie. It's like, Natalie, so how did you feel about
He's like,
the
he's
painting?
trying to say without saying, that was fucking weird.
Can we have a human moment here? And it's like, not with Natalie. She is way too far lost in the sauce. So he's just like, well, fuck. Yeah, he's really good in this season. Miss Huang is such a good addition to the cast. That character is so fucking funny. Like, the dry humor with Miss Huang killed me so often.
Now look, I have a Miss Huang related confession. Whenever we started this season, obviously first 1 or 2 episodes, your mind is running crazy with theories.
Oh, don't say it.
Yeah. And
clone Gemma.
Well, yeah, we were trying to figure out what was going on with Gemma because they kept talking about the testing floor, and I'm like, my mind went there because they're both Asian. Okay, I thought maybe they're cloning Gemma.
A lot of people will probably guess that.
I do think that's the point. Like, I think that was a conscious choice.
Yeah,
honestly,
I could see it.
Yeah, like I think because it's like they're definitely like we don't like we. It's definitely like we're trying to manipulate Mark's brain in some way for him to do these things, which is why I think Casey is on the floor at first. So we need to make sure there is still some sort of like triggering mechanism in his brain to get him to do what we want to do. So we're going to replace her with this small Asian child. Which I think it's definitely a conscious choice, and it's like part of the manipulation and like the company like only seeing like the surface level of how things work as they're underground. So, but yeah, but no, I definitely thought something similar. I was like, is this their secret child that was stolen from them? And then he mentioned she's been dead for 2 years. I'm like, oh, okay, then never mind.
And then I ended up feeling really bad for her in the last episode because everybody's kind of going through it in the last episode, even the Lumen people, because like obviously all of our workers are fucking had it. Miss Huang's fucking had it, and because they make her smash her fucking ring game, and that was so sad. And then after that, even Milchek's had it, where he gets chewed out by Drummond over the word.
Oh my god.
Like, it is not my fault what Mark S. does when he is not at work.
I love that scene because like Milchek has his own like heroic arc in this season. Like he's still the villain, but you're like, I want Milchek to win in some way still as you're watching him.
That's like in that moment, despite all these just atrocities Milchek has done to our characters, when he's talking to Drummond, you're like, hell his ass.
Because like there's something like so relatable. Of like, I am doing the best I can, but for some reason, my goddamn supervisor can't get off my fucking ass about the smallest things, right?
Consume
Like, it's just
feculence or whatever.
Yeah.
Devour feculence. Actually, small tangent. I saw yesterday someone in Monster Hunter Wilds has made their dung pod message devour feculence.
Nice.
So I think that's quite good. Eat shit. What else is there to say aside from many things? Tyler, you've been quiet. What are some of your positives of the season? Or favorite things? Anything you didn't like? Favorite storylines, maybe?
I liked what's the gray hair woman's name again?
Cobell.
I liked Eye of Sauron, Miss Cobell. That was a great scene.
God.
Like
Dude,
seeing that at the end of seeing that at the end of the episode and then going into the following week was terrific.
Eye of Sauron. What am I?
No, what he's talking about is like they wake up Mark at the birthing cabins, right? And they're like, we have someone we want you to talk to, and he walks into this room.
And she's got aura.
It is the most super villain framing I've ever seen in my life.
Hello, Mark.
Yeah, God, so good. Speaking of the imagery in the season intro, the Cobell flashlight thing,
so creepy.
It's so good.
It's kind of like misleading. Like it makes her seem more important to the season than she actually was.
Yeah.
But you do learn that she's the one who made Lumen Tech. I'll talk about that episode a little later.
And then but I like the imagery of her, like she has the book open, so she knows how the story is unfolding, and they have to go into her brain to like figure it out. Like they have to like speak to her and know what she knows.
Last shot of the opening with like them rushing to the elevator and it's Helly and Gemma oscillating like that.
Yeah.
That's just really good imagery. And I like how in that opening it's Mark and Mark both helping each other like get through a situation, which kind of is misleading for how this season technically works. Like those guys are not in line.
Did y'all
Mark
notice
is kind of Mark and his sister are both kind of dick.
Okay, I don't want to get to this yet. I have some things to say about Devon. Before we get there, actually, let's talk about the fact that I rewatched season 1 before this season. I think this is topical.
I had to do that.
Did it all in like 2 days. Could not stop watching. Granted, like because I'd seen it before, I could walk away and like do a little bit.
Same.
But like actual perfect season of television. Like it may not be my favorite season of television ever, but it might be the most like flawless season of television I've ever seen. Every storyline pays off. Every character is good and makes sense. The mystery is good. The humor's great. Cinematography, like we've said. Yeah.
If the series like ended there for whatever reason, it would still like be like just a masterclass of television because like it's like you can at least assume that like Mark gets his message out and they understand, or like there's some like novelty of knowing like the like how insurmountable this company is and that power that they wield and how he's not able to get it out. Like I think you can see it both ways, and I think it's really good. And so the season 2 is really just the icing on top of like, ooh, we get to see what happens next. But season 1,
with you.
Fucking...
in season 1, Devon is ostensibly the smartest, most reasonable character. I'll circle back to that statement later. I will also say, in season 1, I had like a weird appreciation for Rickon of all characters.
Well, actually, honest to God.
And particularly, there's like a cool storyline with Rickon where it's like, it's actually really beautiful where like, art may be lowbrow and like not always good, but his intentions were good. And the point is like him putting his art in the world was meaningful to someone. So I think there's like a really beautiful message about like the creative process and like putting your art out there no matter what, because it might make someone's day or cause some weird internal revolution in a death cult company. So,
and that's the thing. Rickon is aware of the fact that his work could be seen as lowbrow. Like,
yes, he's very, he's self-aware.
Like he throws these signing parties for himself, which makes you think his ego would be bigger than it is, but when Mark meets Rickon, and he's trying to tell them how much he loved his book. Rickon's like, Mark, you really don't have to go that
Yeah,
far.
like I know you don't like my work.
But, oh my! I almost teared up the second time watching that scene because Mark is like, no, really, like I can't tell you how much that book means to me. It changed my life, and I'm like, dude.
Like he's a dumbass, but he's a good enough guy, you know. And the people at the party are into it, so it's like he's not throwing it for no reason. I'll circle back to Rickon as well. So let's talk about Helly and Helena. Did y'all know? Like I was pretty sure that wasn't Helly because like. Either she was lying for frustrating reasons or this was Helena, but then they did convince me otherwise a little bit with how quote-unquote helpful she was when they went into the goat location. But like, it was never left my mind. So it wasn't like a huge twist, but I liked the reveal of it, I guess, with Irving.
Same.
I will say, it felt like a bit of a leap of logic for how Irving figured it out.
Yeah, I could see
He
that.
says Helly was never cruel, and it's like, brother, you don't even know what an Egan really is, or like outside of the propaganda they've told you. So it's like
That's the thing, man. I like Irving's in tune, both Amy and Audi Irving.
That's the
I think
thing.
I think he's been like reintegrated the whole time somehow. There's like
No.
a secret coalition fighting against the Lumen government, and
So-
Irving's a part of it.
it may not quite be that, but we know for a fact that Annie Irving gets bleed over dreams from Audi Irving, like when he sees the paint coming through the walls, and it clicked in his dream, because he has like that dream before the revelation, and he like sees his dreams basically his subconscious telling him that Helly is an Egan, but like I just feel like with the level of knowledge that Annie Irving has when he was outside for exactly 39 minutes looking at those files and driving to Bert's house. I just don't think he really had enough in the tank to figure it out, so that took away from it. But, on the other hand, do it, Seth! With the venom in his
delivery.
voice. I was like, oh, hell yeah.
That was such a good delivery.
Yeah, for sure.
I think you're just jealous that Irving figured it out before you did.
I figured it. I just said I knew it.
I think you're jealous he figured it out before you did.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, I get to go home after work, which I work at home. So, checkmate, Irving.
You do work at home. We talked about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys are really nice about it. So that last episode is probably my favorite episode of the entire series. That was incredibly good in my opinion. Particularly like I don't think the reveal of Cold Harbor is particularly interesting. They've been building up to this mystery so much, and it's like, yep, it is we're gonna take over her body, but first, the only wrinkle is first we're gonna make this personality that is completely subservient, has no link to any of the other personalities, is just a worker bee, and it's like, that lines up for the company. I don't know if it was like, they hyped the fuck out of it. It's like, we're walking by the Cold Harbor door, and they're talking about, like, we must complete Cold Harbor. And, like, they were, like,
That's the thing, like,
really hyping it up.
Like, not like it's not a big deal, and not like it's not a tragic thing.
Yeah.
For how secretive it is, you would have thought it would be something mind-blowing, or that you would never guess. You know what I mean?
I think it was fine, actually.
Yeah,
I like the reveal of that.
Exactly.
like it.
I think it was fine. But for being the central mystery of the season and story so far, it was like, yeah, that's about what I expected. And we don't get too much details beyond what we have to see and interpret, so it might have some wrinkles. But that's not why that episode is the best. It's all the character stuff. Like, the Marks finally talking to each other is the payoff that I did not think we would get.
In the birthing cabin?
Yeah.
Yeah. I love how Indy Mark is inside and Outie Mark is outside whenever they have to talk.
That's good.
Yeah. And so, like, that particular scene, obviously, whenever they start a show from season one, not everything is written in advance, but that particular scene is one that they said they have been just giddy to get to from the start.
You know what's even crazier good about that scene is that Indy Mark is in a bigger space, and Audi Mark is in the balcony.
Well, he has the
Any
control
Mark-
of the situation.
Yes, he has more room to do what he wants to do than Audi Mark does. Like Audi Mark is at the whims of any Mark, essentially. And Audi Mark can't leave that balcony without going to any Mark.
And like,
And even
yeah, that's
Go
a
ahead.
good point. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, even more with how that whole scene is framed with the inside-outside, a detail that I think people had pointed out even in season 1 is in Mark's house, he has those two, those fighting fish that you literally have to keep separated or else they'll kill each other, and he has an orange
Ooh.
one and a blue one.
Yeah.
And so people always, even in season 1, were like, that's really cool that there's kind of this metaphor that there's these two halves that can never cross or else they'll fight, they'll kill each other. And in this scene, one of the Marks is bathed entirely in orange light from the fire and one's entirely in blue light from outside. So they have the same colors as this fish, and the first time they're interacting, they are fighting, which also comes almost immediately after the Shikai Bardo episode, which is all about like death of the self, like a person defeating their own self to become like a more true version. I don't know.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking too, because like when Mark is finally talking to his Innie, you can see the excitement, or his Audi rather. You can see Innie's Mark's excitement of like, oh my god, yeah, that's so cool. And then as the conversation goes on, and he realizes that Audi Mark does not see him as a person, and what really pushes it over the edge is like, oh yeah, your girlfriend Selena, or Selly or whatever he says.
Helene.
That particular moment, I feel like there was a chance before that.
Yes, there really was, but like, Innie Mark is right, and like Devin confirms it. It's like, yeah, he's right. We're bullshitting him, right? Which is like, even for her to say that is quite cruel. So it's anyone who was mad at Innie Mark at the end of the season is both morally weird and does not have media literacy. Like,
people being so mad at Innie Mark for that final season, or not final season, for that final scene in the show, kind of made me realize how realistic Severance as a premise actually is, because Innie Mark is our privileged perspective for most of the show. I feel like either Innie Mark or Helly, but definitely we spend more time with Innie Mark than Audi Mark in this show. And so people sympathize with Innie Mark up until these last few episodes of season 3, where we're actually laid on pretty heavy with Audi Mark and his history with Gemma, and so your emotions are running high, and you care more about that stuff than you normally do. And then people get to this final scene where you have Gemma on one side of the door and Innie Mark on the other side, and people are just like, why doesn't he go through the door? Why doesn't he just kill himself?
Wild.
And I'm like, bro, I can barely put eye drops in my own eyeballs, and you're criticizing this dude for not killing himself on like just like that?
Like, there's a chance that things work out and like he'll wake up one day after opening that door, but those chances are very low. Particularly because Audi Mark is a piece of shit, and is a depressed, awful person who's not going to cooperate. So it's like, and the thing is, Innie Mark finishes the fucking mission. He gets her out the door, and then he makes a decision for himself. So I think
That's the thing.
Fair is fair.
He deserved to make that decision because, first of all, at the beginning of that episode, when we got the premise that this is going to be a heist where they're constantly swapping between two versions of themselves, I'm like, that's a cool-ass premise for a finale. But in this heist, Innie Mark so has the harder job. He's the only one who had to fight someone. He almost got strangled to death trying to save this dude's wife. And his reward for that is people being pissed that instead of going to help the woman he loves, he didn't cease to exist forever.
And that like final scene of them running through the halls, and it at first is so joyful, but by the last frame, you're like, hey, we have no idea where the fuck we're going. Like, the way that we transition into that last frame, and it's just like their last fleeting moment, really, is pretty peak. They're really lucky Lumen security is comically bad Like,
Yeah.
I'm glad
distractingly bad.
I'm glad you brought up how shitty their security is, because they had a security. He died in season 1, and they didn't replace him. And you have this overworked Milchick who is having to do all of his normal duties, and he's playing security, and he also has to practice this fucking band routine, and he also has to manage Miss Wong.
The band routine was so good.
He has to manage Villa's visit. So you have Milchick so overworked, and people are like, yeah, Lumen security is so shit. If they even had one more person, if there was one person helping Milchick, Lumen would have won. But I'm like, I think that's perfect for this show, which is already like a critique of, just giant corporations and capitalism, where it's so, I love it that a corporation that is too big to fails because they would rather overwork the one employee they do have than hire even one more person.
That's a good twist on it. But, like, come on, two security cameras and 2 dudes in a room would have solved every issue they had in the entire season. Like, they do so much shit under their noses. Like, and I get they made precautions to, like, make the innies feel safer. Just hide that shit. They're not gonna know. Like, it's the super secret Cold Harbor. Like, they can't take risks. Okay, guys, I can't bury the lead anymore. I got some fucking problems with this season. I think this is confidently worse than season 1. Now, I'll preface by saying I just talked a bunch of positives nonstop there. It's still a weird season of Severance is still better than like 90% of all television.
I think the way I'd say it is, I think you were right earlier when you said season 1 is more unblemished. Like I can't think of anything in season 1 I dislike. Like I don't think there's any episode that dragged.
No, yeah.
Overall, I enjoyed season 2 more. Like, the highs were higher for me, but season 2 had blemishes that season 1 did not.
Okay. Where do I start? We could be here for a while. I got gripes, man.
I gotta go to bed.
I'm so sorry, Joe. I didn't... Like, we're still sort of in time. I guess we just started later than we thought we would.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, let's talk about Devon. Ostensibly the smartest character in season 1. The Ragabi Devon Mark integration plotline not only goes nowhere, and it might be setting up for something in season 3, but resolves itself in the most fumbly weird way, where Devon shows up and she's like, oh, let me call the corporate spy that I don't know at all in the company that I know is deathly serious about hiding its secrets. Yeah, let me call her. And she only has that thought because logically, Devon would never think to call Cobell. Like, we know objectively as viewers that, yeah, that's going to work out because Cobell's, like, she's having beef right now with Lumen. But from what Devon knows, that decision makes no fucking sense. She does not know Cobell at all, nor why she should trust her at all. And she just makes that decision to give Ragabi a reason to leave. And in the most, like, ham-fisted way, like, on a narrative sense. Like, she makes a dumb, out-of-character decision just to move the plot along. And then, like, Ragabi is there the whole season. She could explain, like, 80% of the secrets, and the characters just don't ask anything. Like, they just don't ask anything interesting or relevant to actually... They don't even ask what Cold Harbor is, what Lumen actually wants. They're just like, okay, reintegrate me. And the reintegration goes nowhere.
That's the main complaint I've seen about this season, is people just not asking questions that any sane person would ask. Like, Audi Mark learns, confirmed, Gemma is alive, and he hears about this Cold Harbor thing, and I don't know, I think they reveal, like, Cobell's like, if this Cold Harbor thing is complete, your wife is gonna die, and he just doesn't ask, why what is this thing? Why would it kill her? Why is she gonna die? He doesn't ask any questions like that. He just starts going, fuck, man.
Yeah, it's like, he's like, oh, the script's gonna explain this later, so I'm just not gonna ask now. Like, it's just... The characters felt so real in the weirdest circumstances season 1, and then in season 2, they're just making decisions that are driving me insane. But also, more damningly, I was kind of bored a lot of these episodes, and I am someone who loves slow burn like movies and slow burn TV shows. There was just something about the ratio of like character beats and mystery reveals, because it's a mystery show that's like the pacing at which you get the reveals is pretty important. But like between that and like the character beats, like something felt so off about a lot of the episodes in the season. Like in the first 3 episodes, all the characters are like fucked up from their experience over there, and like they're all pissy at each other. And I'm like, the vibe is just not like the character dynamics aren't doing anything. They're just going off in their own corners for like quite a few episodes there for the any versions, right?
Yeah.
And then I will get on Helly's side. I was like, Helly's my favorite character in season 1 by quite a bit. And I was like, I don't know, I'm not really feeling Helly this season. Which, I mean, that's just the actress being godlike, because she was able to portray 3 versions of Helly, Helena, and Helena pretending to be Helly. And she nailed that second one where I was like, Helly is not the same character right now, like, in ways that I couldn't put into words, but I was not feeling her those first 3 episodes. But then, like, for the other characters, there's not really a good excuse. Like, think about the plot lines that wrapped up this season that were, like, satisfyingly wrapped up. Because I feel like we set up a lot of threads that didn't really go anywhere. There's the Dylan and his wife. That was a good...
Dylan's self-cuck is great.
Self-cuck Dylan was a good arc that wrapped up.
I sobbed in his little scene where he just wanted... He wanted to give her a good life, man.
Yeah, and like, for once, it's the Audi kind of looks up to the innie, and I thought that was interesting, right?
No, and that's such a good comparison between. Sorry, I don't want to interrupt you. I just wanted to say it while we were there that the contrast between Audi Mark and Audi Dylan is actually kind of crazy. Where I thought Audi Dylan was the biggest douche ever, where he's like, he's arguing with, I'm gonna go work my job that pays our bills and feeds our family, and I'm like, no. Guy. I'm like, you're driving the guy who actually does the work to the building. You don't do shit. But then he is so much more by the end, he feels so much more understanding of Dylan's plight than Audi Mark feels for his counterpart, where he's like, dude, I just felt bad because clearly you have these traits that I wish I had in myself, and it made me mad, and I lashed out. But he's like, I'm giving you a choice because you deserve it.
I'm really excited to see where that goes in season 3. So that's one. We successfully saved Gemma in, again, the best episode in the season, in the series, and we built up to it the whole season. And we completed the Helena Mole storyline. I feel like in the 10-hour-long episodes of this season, that's about it that I could say was like, that got a satisfying conclusion in all the like multiple threads they had going on.
Yeah.
And then like that episode where we revealed Helena Mole, right? We're outside in the snow. That episode was really boring to me. Like, we're just trudging through the snow most of the episodes, and the characters are like kind of being weird with each other, and Irving's having a bad time. And like there is the cool like Helena Mark romance scene which has implications, and then the cool finale. But like, I'm watching a show that I thought was perfect, and like for 30 minutes of that episode, I'm just like, yep, we're still in the woods. I have no idea why we're out here. What the fuck is going on? But at least Miss Wong got to play her weird instrument thing, so that was good.
She loves her fucking theremin.
And then like we get to episode 5 and 6, and then we hit our like a good groove again. I'm like, okay, we're like good pacing of like character interactions. Like the stuff I like in Severance, where we're getting some stuff revealed for the mysteries, we're moving the mystery along. But then we hit the absolute scroll with the Cobell flashback episode.
That's the only episode I found boring. I was like, dog.
Like, I love flashback episodes. There was just nothing interesting happening in that episode. We're getting a bit of Lewin lore.
With that particular episode, I did read some stuff that apparently there were like production issues with the location they wanted, and they either like they didn't have enough time or they weren't able to use all the locations they wanted to. So that episode might have had some rewriting that brought the quality down.
Yeah, that one in particular, like it just feels like the only parts that matter in that whole episode is the front part
and the end part.
Yeah.
And I was just like, and I remember watching it being like, I feel like I didn't get that much all from this. And it's the shortest episode of the entire season. It's only like 30 minutes long compared to like the normal like hour or so.
It wasn't that short, I don't think. It was shorter though.
It was that short.
And then like, uncharacteristically of me, the Gemma flashback episode, one of the most beautiful pieces of television ever. I also like wasn't that engaged, like the dreamlike state that we were going between like the flashback, but then just the testing on the floor. Like, I don't know, like it just was not working for me for some reason. Like just Gemma going through these weird tests that you don't have context for, and like you know now that they're like testing out her different personalities and whatnot, but like we're just like, ooh, dangling the Cold Harbor mystery in front of you, and like coming after the slow ass Cold Bell episode, it felt like another episode where like we were not moving anything really along. And then we hit an amazing finale stretch. So it's like, I don't, for like almost a half of the season, I was kind of like wishing I was enjoying things more, or like actively bored at some points. So like,
it's just a lot of slow pacing as compared to the finale. I feel like is unique in this season for having maybe some of the most perfect pacing in anything I've ever seen.
So good, yeah. Even the band sequence, we like revel in that for the appropriate amount of time, and it brought me back to Milchek doing the jazz party in season 1.
That's the thing. It was a perfect upgrade.
Yeah. And then like we lock him behind and we go do the heist, and it's intense, and we accidentally kill Drummond in like a pretty dark comedy scene with the elevator where it's like, that is how that would play out.
What's even better?
Mark's yelling at the crazy lady that runs the door. Like, fuck you!
He's like, open it! Open it! What's even better about Mark killing Drummond? Because, like, first of all, holy shit, him pulling the trigger right as they enter that floor. But I went back and I was watching a few episodes of season 1 after that. And when Petey is first talking to Outie Mark and trying to convince him, like, hey, it's kind of worth being worried about this Lumen thing. Things aren't what they say in there. And Mark is just like, I really don't care. I don't care what goes on in there, because that's the point, is that I don't care. I don't remember. And Petey's like, you don't care? He's like, what if you were killing people down there?
Yeah.
Like, what if they had you killing people, and the first time Outie Mark ever wakes up in the severed floor,
he's killed someone.
Killing someone.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's a good twist. But yeah, like, the negative portion of this review aside, I'd still give this season like a 4 out of 5, 8 out of 10 situation. Still a really good season, but like I had some active flaws, especially like some of those character decisions were really weird. Also, Irving, like, I love his dynamic with himself. It's like, oh, the enemy found love, and I couldn't out here. But then it's like Bert just kind of shows up and drives him away, and it's like, is Irving out of the show? Like, it leaves off in such a weird place where it's like, if he's out of the show, then that plot line is weird, man. Like,
my gut feeling is that season 3 is going to be a lot of Irving and a lot of Gemma.
Really? Okay, so you think we're gonna stick with Irving? I would like that to be the case.
100%, because number one, outside of the show's universe, we've already confirmed his actor is coming back.
Okay.
But also, like, there's so much going on with his plot line of he's been investigating Lumen for so long, and he even has a contact on the phone that we still don't know who they are.
Yeah.
And Gemma, now on the outside, obviously wants her fucking man back. So I feel like, I don't know if those two are going to be working together, but I do feel like those two characters will probably be prominent in season 3.
I guess we can, like, wrap up. What are we expecting out of season 3?
Severance.
Oh, true.
Yeah. They're probably gonna sever.
Well, they can't keep avoiding the reintegration.
Because that plot line got temporarily dropped, but it has to come back.
I think season. We forgot to mention, like, the horror of, like, being just fucking told lies. Like, they were told, like, oh, it's been 5 months since you've been back here.
Oh yeah.
It's been like 48 hours. Like, the shit happened in the lighthouse and made me, like, sick. Anyways, I think, like, we're basically gonna cut immediately afterwards, and it's going to be like almost like a metaphor for strikes and unions and stuff, even more so. Like, they're gonna be basically like finding the different parts of Lumen where, like, the people from upstairs can get in and blocking them off, and, like, them just living down there and trying to survive and flipping back and forth there. I think that's gonna be a big part of it, and, like, I don't know. Maybe we'll figure out what the goats are for. Like,
Well, we did. There's sacrifice. So about the goats, they're a bit
Yeah.
of concern. There wasn't supposed to be an answer for the goats, and I was fine with that. There was just some weird shit in this wacky workplace. They forced an answer to the goats, and it's just like it's a pure sacrifice for the Egan ritual or whatever. It just makes me worry that they're gonna force themselves to delve into other mysteries that may not be adding to the story, but people, just because people theorized about it online, they might address some things that won't really add. So I just hope that like that was a one-off weird instance.
I also feel like my whole like concept of like what's going on is like just some other form of immortality is what they're treating.
Yeah,
Like
I
that's
think so too.
like it's trying to get like Egan back in some way to prove that you can bring back people.
Oh, they're definitely trying to bring Egan back, and I think part of that is step one: make a blank slate that'll do whatever we need, and then we can fill that blank slate with Egan. So Cold Harbor was that step A.
Yeah.
Y'all just reminded me of shit. After I finished this season, but before y'all had finished, I had mentioned I was looking at people's takes online, and I was like, holy shit, some people are fucking morons that just like, I was going off like people just don't have media literacy, but not even in like a people interpreted this in a different way than me. Like, I'm talking like these people were not watching the fucking show. There was this Reddit comment that this person was convinced that the entire show there was an Innie Milchick and an Outie Milchick. They were just on the same fucking page. They thought Milchick was separate the whole time. Just the Innie and the Outie had their goals aligned. And you have all these comments having to try and explain to them, dog, no, there's one fucking Milchick.
To be fair, I guess I could see why someone would reach that conclusion, just because they would assume everyone there is severed because that's the gimmick of the show. But to me, it was always like, oh no, like him and Cobell are outside of that. So
that's the, like, I can see having that concept, but I'm like, by the time you get to the end of season 2, I feel like you should know.
Yeah.
I think it's I could definitely see you having that theory like in season 1, right? Like potentially like, oh, these people are also severed. And then that's part of a mid-season twist of like, oh, no, they're fully aware what's going on down there, both in and out. Because like Miss Selvig lives next door to Mark, like that's kind of weird and a coincidence. And
yeah, that one never read like a coincidence. Like it felt very malicious as soon as you learn about that, especially. Yeah. So we do have one last topic that we should probably, if we don't have anything, Severance.
I didn't get to give my theory about the show.
Yeah, we
Please
gotta know
do.
Tyler.
But I will say, Joe, if you need to step out for this last subject, you are allowed.
I want to hear Tyler's saying that I'll probably have to jump out.
So like we've established a few things with this last season, is that you can have multiple severed personalities inside of one person, and you can have multiple different points of severance. I think some people in our Severance town, our Lumen town, I think there's a severed barrier around the town.
Ooh. Oh, that's sick.
And, like, that is also one of the things that's happening, because, like, we've established, like, there's, like, heaven, a purgatory, and hell a little bit, and that's, like, heaven is, like, the outside, purgatory is our severed floor, and then hell is where Gemma was. As she's going through it, you know? She's, like, literally living in hell. But I'm wondering if, like, there is an escape for everybody. But, like, that would mean, like, the siblings are in on it. Like, I feel like Rickon is in on it in some capacity. Like, he knows maybe more than he's letting on.
The Rickon book plotline went nowhere, so I hope that comes back. So, Tyler, I think your theory could work, but I don't think people would know. It's like, if you're unsevered, you just walk out of town normally, because the barrier wouldn't work. But if you are severed, as soon as you step out of town, you might switch to another, which might happen to Irving on that bus. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah,
train.
I feel like there's some type of, like, Truman Show effect going on, maybe.
There could be. Granted, Well, yeah, we don't. Yeah, no, Helena was in town. I'm pretty sure when she was doing her
Presentation.
thingamabob. Yeah,
Where did they
Yeah.
go on their retreat? Why were there clones of them on their retreat?
They were
that whole episode was
mannequins.
nonsense, man. No, they were moving. I guess the
They were
mannequin moved.
mannequins. The mannequin and the Egan mannequin moved before the whole thing happened.
Why did that Egan mannequin seem like it was actually speaking to Milkshake?
So
that shit
it
was
was-
creepy.
That
Yeah.
was the board of directors.
Ah.
Yeah.
I like that.
And here's the I've seen
They
a lot of
control the
argument over
mannequin.
that. I've seen so much argument over that animatronic. People who were like, they've already succeeded in uploading Kier's consciousness, and that animatronic is actually Kier talking to Milchick. I'm in the camp where I'm like, I feel like there was just a dude, either Drummond or the board, talking through it with a microphone.
Yeah, no, because if they've solved, well, I mean, it's a robot, so I guess their point of interest or their point of the theory is like, okay, now we need to get this in flesh, which would be what they're doing with Gemma.
Look, I just don't think it's Kier's consciousness because the dude lived in the 1800s, and I'm like, they didn't have the severance procedure until 11 years before the series started. Hobel invented it. For them to have Kier's consciousness in this robot, they would have had to invent that tech 70 years before the first electronic computer.
Well, the thing is, right, and this is like what Mark is doing, he is isolating the tempers to create a new personality. Now, I guess like he's removing the tempers from that personality, and that's what gets injected into Gemma. But I guess you could go the opposite way by creating a new personality with the tempers, and if they know the quote-unquote tempers that Kier's had, they can recreate Kier's based on data that they've recorded of him throughout history.
Data Kier?
And make it AI Kier. So that's, I guess that's where we're going. But I really like that dome, like the severed dome theory that Tyler has.
Yeah.
That seems viable.
Viable severance strategy.
Yeah.
I think. I don't fucking know.
I think Bradley should quickly talk about the Twilight movies.
Yeah,
what I
I don't have a
think.
whole lot to say. I'm not gonna like go over the whole plot of these movies. But me and Emmy watched them because she's like, Bradley, they're a meme. They're so fucking funny. You have to watch it. And I enjoyed every second watching these movies.
Oh, yeah?
I was laughing my ass off. They're so cringe. It's unbelievable.
Okay, are you Team Edward or Jacob? I gotta go through the normal questions.
I am so Team Jacob. I don't know how a Team Edward can realistically exist.
Fighting words, dude. Careful there.
No, like, I feel so bad for Bella's dad throughout this whole story. Jacob is the super handsome, super handy guy that Bella and her dad have known ever since she was born. They've been family friends, coming by. Jacob always looks out for her every time Edward leaves her, saves her every time Edward drags her into a dangerous situation, is actually friendly with her dad, unlike Edward. I don't like Edward. I fucking hate it.
Damn. Is is Jacob
No.
in there from the start?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
He's not much in the first Twilight movie.
He also has one of the funniest fucking lines in the movie because his character is not Mexican or Hispanic. His character is Native American. The werewolves are basically Native American tribes, and that's like your pack.
Okay.
But Bella rolls up to his property, and he says, like in the widest voice, he's like, "Bella, where have you been, loca?" And oh my god, apparently that line is a huge meme in the Twilight movie.
I have heard that somewhere through my years. Now I know the context.
Probably from the Cosmonaut Marcus series of.
Oh, maybe.
things.
Yeah, I've watched a lot of like videos on these movies, but I've never seen the movies themselves.
Anyway, I'm not gonna go through the plot of all the movies. The point is, you got two sexy guys fighting over Bella. At one point, I made a remark on Kristen Stewart's acting in this movie, but Emmy was like, Bradley, you gotta understand, she's playing the part. Bella doesn't exist to be a complicated character. She exists to get sexed up by these two guys. I was like, you know what?
She's cooking.
Fair enough.
She exists to get sexed up.
You know what's horrible?
Oh my god. What's
So
horrible?
I read all of the Twilight books
What?
in junior high, middle school, or whatever.
Joe is trying to also get sexed up.
Joe was trying to
Yeah.
crush some puss by reading
I
Twilight.
was. It's so true.
So I don't know.
Many such cases.
Edward loves Bella because of her scent. He says you're like my own personal brand of heroin. I just can't stay away, and it's romantic because he wants to bite her and kill her, but he can't. And that's sexy and romantic.
I love when my man can kill me.
Here's what I've realized is that men have the reputation for being horn dogs, but if you look at any piece of media that's created for women by women,
It's so horny.
It's all about I just want to get women just want to get fucked by a dangerous, beautiful man until they die. That's the dream.
For legal reasons, Bradley is not referring to all women. Please erase that comment. Relax.
Yes, I am.
Oh shit.
No.
You should go tell that to your wife.
She probably made the theory.
Oh yeah.
She cooked the whole play up. One question: did you know about the baseball scene, and how did you like the baseball scene?
I didn't know about it, and I felt the same way about it. I felt about the baseball scene in High School Musical 2, which is that this is weird, but I'm entertained.
And finally, did you know about the twist with that big war in the last movie or whatever, where everyone fucking dies?
No, I didn't know about it going in, and that was one of the few things I wanted to talk about, which is that these movies I was enjoying ironically for the cringe for 4.5 movies, but then the second half of the last movie was actually just fucking awesome.
Nice.
I was it wasn't even like a rare nugget of kind of good writing in a cringe series. It was a nugget of I'm literally jumping off the couch going, what the fuck? Like, it was one of those cat grabbing the shield moments where I was like, this is actually the fucking shit. I'm glad I watched the movies so I could experience this. Where, like, the big twist with that battle is every vampire has their vampire power, which at first sounded kind of corny to me. It reminded me of, like, kids playing pretend in the pool, like, what's your mermaid power? But some of the vampire powers are actually cool. So when you have this big war at the end with like 60 vampires, each with their own unique power, it's kind of cool. Mm-hmm. Like the main villains have their ultimate weapon, which is this girl who is just looks at you and you feel debilitating pain. But what's so cool is they have this giant like 10 to 15 minute long war. All your favorite characters are dying. We're getting these like character beat moments wrapped up. It's like all the stuff you've wanted and also stuff you didn't want the whole series. My beloved characters dying. We're beating the bad guys, whatever. We get to the end of that encounter and the main villain dies.
Wild.
And oh my god, I don't even know how to say this. This is one of those moments I'm convinced is actually better in movie format than in a book format. Without having read the book,
So you don't get this whole scene in the book. No.
The book is just them talking. They just talk and there's no action climax. So that's why people were freaking out in theaters because they were like, oh, they're changing the story. Everyone's dying.
Yeah. So like what happens is like I think it's the short-haired girl. I forget what her name is.
Alice, and she's a total babe. Yeah,
she is. She walks up to one of the head vampires, and that guy's ability is to also read minds, very similar to Edward. And so he reads her mind because they know she can see the future, and they see everything, and they're like, "No, we're not gonna." Okay, yeah, all right, we'll let it live. That's how that whole conversation goes, basically.
And I really love it because the plot of this movie is that the Volturi, which are they are basically the rulers of the vampire world. They live in Italy, and all vampires around the world answer to them. What they do is when they find someone with a vampire power that they want to serve them, that vampire's family, clan, whoever they're with, will be accused of a crime, or a new crime will be made up that justifies wiping out that entire clan, and then they absorb the remaining person that they actually wanted into their forces. And so basically they want to they just want someone from Edward's clan or whatever, and they're using Bella's daughter as the excuse. Vampire children are very much a big no-no in their world, so they're coming to kill the clan, and they have to have a pretense for killing a clan to maintain their leadership. They can't just be openly evil. And so they're like, yeah, we have to kill you because this child's a threat to everyone, to our kind. And Alice, who can see the future, just walks up and she's like, I have evidence that this child is no danger to you. And he's like, yeah, whatever, let's see it. And then they touch hands, which is when we get the 15-minute war. And then at the end, it cuts back to them touching hands. So from everybody else's perspective, she walks out and she's like, I have proof that baby's no danger to you. They touch hands, and he turns around and he's like, she's right, let's go. Anyway, I don't have much more to say about it.
Excellent.
It's late, but these movies, I think they're worth watching to laugh.
How about that weird-ass baby? That's the last thing.
Oh, yeah, and then
that shit's freaky.
Jacob imprints on her.
Yeah.
Because every werewolf, you imprint on someone, and they're like your person for life. And she's like a week old, and Jacob imprints on her.
That's a choice. That's a choice of all time.
Which is weird. He gets his ass beat.